to your coffee.
Me. This is very good coffee.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a Brazilian Cuban mix. I usually make espresso with this, but I just threw this in the coffee maker and it came out just as good.
Oh, yes, it came out great.
Thank you for coming.
No,
so you were close by.
Me. Yeah. Right now I'm working close by, so it wasn't too far out of my way. And plus, like I said, I haven't been over to this area yet, so I always like exploring new places, especially since living out here. So
brand new to California.
Brand new. A couple months, actually. A few months now, I think. Yeah, I just hit the 3-month mark not that long ago.
So everybody's leaving LA to go into Texas. You're leaving Texas to come. What part of Texas?
So I was just north of Austin, Texas. Okay. So I was actually only there for about 3 years, on and off. So I'm born and raised in Pennsylvania. I was there for the first 23 years of my life. And then I ended up moving to Texas for about a year. I moved back to Pennsylvania for about 6 months. And then I couldn't do the cold anymore. I was like, nope, The winter hit. I was like, I can't. I experienced a whole year in like non-winter weather. So I was like, I cannot do this. And then I went back to Texas for a little bit. I unintentionally moved to Texas, actually. So
unintentionally,
makes
sense.
Right? So
total sense.
I went back down. I was just sick of Pennsylvania. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Texas for a few weeks. There was a shop down there I still like could work out of and stuff. I was like, I'm going to go down there.
A shop. When you mean shop, like
just a bike shop, like they built baggers down there. So I was like, I'm just gonna do some paint work for them. He wanted his personal bike painted, so I was like, all right, I'll come down for a few weeks. And then while I was down there, I just never left. Like I ended up just staying longer and longer. Then all my stuff came shipped to me, and I was like, I'm just here then.
My shit came shipped here by itself. Right? It was weird. Yeah, it wasn't premeditated. It just
Well, that part wasn't, but I ended up I was there longer than expected, and I didn't have any bike with me. I drove down, and so I just put like a feeler out there. I was like, any of my friends in Pennsylvania feel like bringing my bike down to me, or at least like, cause I had 3, I was like one of them, like I need something. And so then it just happened. One of my friends was driving to California and he was like, I'll bring it out. He's like, I'll bring out whatever you need. I was like, well, while you're at it, I was like, I have some other stuff there.
Got a washer, dryer.
Right? So, then I just ended up staying in Texas. And then for the last year, actually it was a year ago yesterday that I like fell in love with California. It came up on my Facebook memories. So I came out here for an airbrush event in Anaheim. It was called the Coast Airbrush Rendezvous. They do it once a year, and it's just like a class event. And so I came out for that, and then I ended up just making plans to go up to Northern California. And at this time, I had a different Instagram page, and it was a very large following. I had like 27,000 followers. So what I would do is I would just post wherever I wanted to go. I'm like, hey, I want to go up to NorCal, and somebody would be like, well, I want some pinstriping done. And I'm like, all right, like I'll book you for this day. I'll be up there then. And then I would just pay for my trip as I went. And then I ended up being for like on the road for weeks at a time. And then it just happened to be that I always would end up in California all the time. And then
there's always work year round.
That, and I loved it so much. There's nothing like the West Coast. I don't know if it's because I grew up on the East Coast and like it's just so foreign to me out here, but I just absolutely fell in love with it. So I always booked work to come out here. And then the last like 3 or 4 times, I was taking full paint jobs. I would come and pick up bikes. I would take them back to Texas, paint them, and then I would bring them back to California and drop them off, pick up other bikes. And I'm like, this is dumb. Like I might as well just live in California at this point. So I was looking into it, and I was actually looking into like the NorCal area. And I
love that area too.
What
part of Northern California?
So I was looking in the Bay Area, like Livermore, like that kind of area.
Yeah. That's a beautiful area.
I loved it. And I was just,
all that.
Yeah. So, I was running into every brick wall though. I was like, this should not be this hard. Like this was getting so frustrating. So then, one of my friends, Whiskey Coco, posted on her Instagram. She was like, hey, I have a friend in San Diego that's looking for a roommate. And she's like, you can have a cat. Like there's a garage, all of that. And I was like, well, that's perfect because I have a cat. And I was like, I don't have anything to lose. And so, I messaged Laurel, who's my now roommate, and I was like, hey, I'm not serious about this because I really didn't want to come to SoCal. I was like, I love it. I don't know if I want to live there. I was like, I'm not serious about this. I said, so if you do have somebody that's serious, and I'm in Texas, I was like, so if you have somebody that's serious, that's local, I said, go with them because I was like,
I'm not reliable.
Yeah,
I'm straight out
right?
telling you, like,
I
don't.
was like, I don't know what's happening.
I wouldn't
here.
want me as a roommate. That's
I was like,
my cat's
and
evil.
that's what I even said. I was like, I don't even know if I want a roommate. Like, I don't know if I want to live with anybody. Like, none of that. So, I was like, I don't know. I don't know about this. And so we ended up like heading it off really well. And then I was signing a lease within like 48 hours. And then she asked me right after we signed the lease, she's like, all right. She's like, so how are you getting to California? I said, I don't know. I said, I just decided that I was doing this like 40 minutes ago. I couldn't tell you. And then she was like, well, so we haven't met in person at this point. And so she was like, well, I have like flight miles that I can use to Dallas. Actually, I have to cash in by a certain time. Like I'll fly out there and I'll drive back with you. And I was like,
wow.
All right, let's do it. So then
You can't even convince a friend to do
right?
that, let alone like a new roommate. I was
like, what is going on? So then she flew out, and we the day we met was when I picked her up from the airport, and we hit it off, and we've been inseparable ever since. So it just like it all like worked out better than I could have absolutely imagined. So then.
Does everything work like this for you?
I don't know.
Like your painting career that we were talking about outside.
Yes.
It's like what your
kind of
college, your university, your.
So I joke around all the time. Well, I used to joke around all the time. Now it's become kind of serious that I just wing everything because like I never like I don't know. I figure the way I look at it, if I plan things out, like now I'm putting unneeded stress on myself because I'm trying to conform to this plan that I gave myself. Like and we all know that that's never how things work out. So I'm just like, you know what? Whatever happens. I'll ride the wave and I'll figure it out as I go.
But the thing that you're doing that's really awesome, and I think
that.
I mean everything you're doing is awesome. But what makes it even better is you're winging it, but you're still showing up. You're still there's an opportunity. You pick up the phone. You
and that's
get
like
there.
I'm very thankful for, like I said, how I stumbled into just painting, and once I figured out, I was like, this is exactly what I want. Like I dedicated my entire life to it. I was like, I realized pretty quick that there wasn't getting much better as far as just like how I'm able to live my life by it. Like I wake up every day and I decide what I want to do that day. And that's like how I built this whole thing, is to be able to live my life like that. And I've never ever taken that for granted. Like that is one thing that I'm so thankful for every day, that like somehow that has all happened, that I could live my life that way. So then like once I realized that, and like I'm like, I have to work to make sure that this stays like this. Like this is I have to
sustainable.
this is how my life has to be. So yeah, that's just how it.
There's a few things. The random thing is the picture of you and your dad is the cutest thing in the world.
Yeah.
You know, seeing how badass and what you're doing now, and then seeing how cute you were when you were younger.
I
think you had a picture of you and your mom.
Yep.
The comparison.
Yeah. So, well, I actually had a picture of her, and I thought the first time I saw that picture, I posted it on Mother's Day, and we were just going through old photos one day, and I was like, this is weird. I was like, I don't remember this bathing suit. And my mom's like, because that's not you. She's like, that's me. And I was like, what? I was like, no way. And then just like seeing other pictures, I was like, this is insane. And then
you're like, they didn't have cameras back then.
right?
Mom. That's
I was
me.
like, this is weird. I was like, I don't even know. But I don't know. It's kind of cool because even now, like,
it's super cool.
Yeah, like it's
not even kind of cool. It's
right.
like fucking
I don't even
awesome.
know. Like, I never realized how cool it was growing up, though. I'm like, this is weird. I don't want to look exactly like my mom or whatever. And then, like, the more I get older, I'm the more like, this is actually really, really cool, right? I'm like, this isn't. It could be way worse, so I can't complain. But
yeah, so I wanted to bring those up because those were cool.
Yeah.
When you meet people, how do you introduce yourself? How do you introduce yourself? And then let's talk about how you got into what you do. Okay. And how'd you get into bikes?
I mean, so how I got into bikes, it goes with my parents. So we'll start there. So I actually, I joke and I say that I was on a bike before I was born because my mom was 8 months pregnant with me, and my dad brought home his Harley that he still has to this day. And it's a 93 Softail.
Does he ever tell you, like, you don't know anything? I've had bikes older than you.
Right?
Yeah.
Actually, no. So he's always been like, he jokes that I'm the son he never had. He has 3 girls, and he's so mad about it because he wanted a son.
So hard.
And yeah, but I was the one that always grew up into like into the cars, into the monster trucks, like into all of that. Like, so he always jokes that I was the son he never had. And he's never been like, he's so like, I don't even know how to describe my dad. Like he is the best person in my life, but he's so quiet. Like he's this like hardcore Italian dude. Like, he doesn't say much. Like, so he doesn't like, he never really like pushed me to do anything. He's always just like very supportive of whatever I do, but not in like a vocal way. He's just like, oh, cool. Like, that's what you want to do. Awesome. Like, all right.
Thumbs
like,
up.
yeah. Like, that's literally pretty much it. So then, yeah, he bought this bike, and it's this factory color, but it's so rare. I only saw one other bike, and just recently, I only like another bike this color. And so he still has it to this day. And there's pictures growing up. And like, I remember like sitting on the tank. I was too little to even ride on the back. And he would just put me on the tank, and he would take me anywhere, just like around the block. 'Cause, you know, it's like 90s. Nobody cares then. So
laws,
right. Yeah. So then,
no Karens.
There's even a picture of, I was actually going to post it for Father's Day. There's a picture of me, my dad and my sister, and we're all three on it. And he's just riding around with us, and he has like the long biker hair and everything. So I've always been on bikes, like just growing up that way. And then it was always like a goal of mine to ride, but I was so scared of it. Like I was freaking out because like I've never operated one myself, you know? And then, when I was married, actually, I was married before, and he rode and stuff. And he was like, I told him, I was like, I really want to ride. And he was like, all right, well, I'll teach you. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got a dirt bike, and I cried. I cried the first time I was on a dirt bike, and I cried the first time I was on an actual bike too, like a street bike. And I picked it up really quick, and then I rode our dirt bike a lot, like just around the yard and stuff. And then he came to me one day before, it was like 3 days before Daytona Bike Week, and this is when we were in Pennsylvania. And he was like, if you go and get your permit today, he said, we'll buy a bike and we'll go down a bike week. And I said, all right, let's go. I was like, that's
bike week and a bike.
Yeah, I was like, come on. So then I went and got my permit, and then I went and bought my first bike. So I had a bike before this. It was it's my pink bike that I post a lot. It was in my living room for a while. It doesn't run. It's a little Yamaha 250. It's my pride and joy. And it's my pride and joy because my grandmother gave all her grandchildren some money at one point. Not a lot, but we just each a little bit. And she said, you have to spend this on something that you want. It can't be anything that you need. It can't be debt. It can't be bills. And it has to be something that you're going to remember us by. And I was like, all right. I said, I'm going to buy my first bike through and through. So I bought this little... That's
what she just defined.
Right, exactly. So,
can't have four wheels.
Right.
Needs to have a tank.
Yep. So then I was like, okay. And I found this little bobber, and I fell in love with it. And so I went and bought it, and I brought it home. And it's this like makeshift hardtail. So like whoever did this did not know what they were doing. Like it does not run right. Like it's all chopped up and not put together right. And I looked at it, and like, I was like, this is not the first bike for anybody to ride on or to learn on or any of that. And I was like, this thing doesn't even run. So then, that's when like the whole like bike permit thing happened. I didn't even have my bike permit yet. And then, so I bought a Yamaha R3, like a little street bike. And we went down to Daytona, and I just like rode around. And then I rode that for not really long time, a couple months. And then one day I was just messing around with my Virago, and I'm like, if it starts today, I'm going to ride it. And it started. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So then I rode that for a while. And then I eventually just got my Harley. And then ever since I've just been on that, which that I didn't even realize. I got it in a trade for some work, and I didn't even realize that I jumped straight from a 250 to a 1200. Yeah. So that was pretty fun, but I was like, okay, here we are. I want it. So let's go.
I mean, that sounds like the coolest trade that you've had,
yeah.
but like, 100%. I'm sure you've had a lot more trades, huh?
100%. So I trade a lot. Like, I'm all about trading work. I do love trading work because, I trade for all my tattoos. And then I also, that situation, I had a friend come to me, and he was like, look, he's like, I don't have a whole lot of money right now. He's like, but I got this Harley. And I was like, say less, let's do it. Yeah. I was like, I'm ready for it. So, I got it, and it was completely different. Like the dude who had it before me, he's this like 6 foot tall dude. Like he definitely set up for him, not for me. Like I was so, I was like stretched out. It was all like the front end it was wild. And so I had that for a while, and I just ended up learning how to ride it because I was like, this is a cool bike, so like I want it. And then it was like that for a long time until about like 7 or 8 months ago is when I finally started changing it up. So
you started trading for money.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I have an idea.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So
do you know the story of the red paperclip?
No.
So in 2005, like when the internet was kind of starting, this guy started off with a red paperclip, and he says, "My goal is to get a house." And he went and traded this paperclip like for a marble, and then he traded the marble, and he posted online, and he kept trading up into like a fucking globe, and then into a car, and then he got up to a Porsche, and then he ended up trading it for a fucking house that was like $200,000. And now in Canada, they have like a statue of a red paperclip, like
way.
Of these trade deals.
I love that though. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
It's very cool, because it's something that everybody can do. But like, people 100%. Are like, "Oh no, I'm not gonna do that shit. I'm too cool." Man. Like whatever.
That I always go off on a rabbit hole and stuff like that because like it's the whole thing that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's just all dependent on what you do with it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. What was that? What's his name? I put my pants on the same way, one foot at a time, except the only difference is when I put on my pants, I make gold records.
That real, I do remember that one.
Yeah, more cowbell. I got a fever. More cowbell. More cowbell.
So awesome. But yeah, so then that's how I kind of got into bikes. I've kind of always been into them. And then once I did start riding, I revolved my life around it because I didn't realize my ex-husband always said that. He was like, "Man," he's like, "I do love riding with you." He said, "But you're not going to understand until you ride alone. Like, you're not going to get it." And then I rode alone and I was like, I will never ride it like on the back of anybody's bike ever again. Like this is beautiful. So then, I was in Texas.
How is that transition? Because I always talk about it and I can only assume where I'm like, that's so fucking crazy. Like I lose my mind when I see a dude all fucking suited up, and then there's a girl with like little shorts and fucking like what? And she's like wearing a bikini, and I'm like, dude.
It's wild the difference. Like it's
But what is that feeling? Is like why do girls like it? Because the girls love it.
100%.
But there's no control. Is that what they like? The control? Let me turn on the AC. I'm listening.
You're fine. So I don't know. Honestly, the only like way that I can describe it is like. I can't even remember like what it was like to be on the back of a bike half the time. Now I will say, the last relationship that I was in, I rode on the back for a little bit. And what I did like about that is once I started riding, and then he was a way more experienced rider than I was. So I rode myself for like 4 or 5 years at this point. But then when I got on the back with him, he could take turns and he could do stuff that I couldn't do on a bike. But then I learned that like being on the back with him, I could see exactly what he did, how he shifted his weight, how he did all of that. And then I could go and take it to my own bike and I was a way better rider.
You can apply
it.
So
that's what I was really stoked about. But as far as like the transition before I could ride myself, like I don't know, being on a bike, it was cool and it was fun and stuff. And it was like, even now it's cool to still like kind of be on like, still have that feeling of being on a bike, but still like be able to like see all the scenery and stuff. Cause sometimes you can't do both and you like gotta pay attention to actually what the hell you're doing. So like, that's always fun. But at the same time,
I guess the question would be more, it's fun. I get it. It's fun. It's adventurous, and you get to see everything. But like, once you compared it, like what you were just saying, you started riding your own bike. You're like, fuck that. I'm not getting the back. What snapped in your head where you're like, fuck that? Like, was it the trust? Was it like what? I mean, what is it?
I don't honestly.
Did you like the control more?
I feel like it was the confidence that it gave me because I was always on the back because I felt like I was always afraid of operating it myself. Cause I'm like, these bikes are so heavy. That's the first part. These bikes are so heavy. I'm a 93-pound girl on a good day. So like, literally. Wet. So I'm like, this is like a lot. It's just intimidating. And then once I started getting on my own bike, it sounds like kind of, I don't know if like cliche is the right word. It sounds kind of like corny, but once I realized that I could overcome that fear and I could operate this machine, like I can pretty much do anything. Like if like 100%, especially once I started riding across country, I'm like, I can do like, there's a lot that I don't give myself credit for that I can do. And like, this is definitely one of them. So that's another reason why I just wing it. And I just say yes to a lot of things. Cause if I think about it too much, I'm going to be like, you can't do this. Like that's way too much. Especially
you
like
brain fuck yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Like, especially that trip I took across country. Like if I sat there and thought about it, I'd be like, like I look back at it and I'm like, I was dumb as shit for doing that. Like there's no way I should have went on that trip. But then like,
but it's back to
one of the best trips of my life.
Showing up. It's back to just not overthinking it and just doing it.
Yep. I figured out everything as I went. Like anything that went wrong, like I just took it as it came. So
Yeah.
I don't think about like when I leave, I don't like think about like, oh, like what if my like tire goes flat? I'll worry about that when it actually goes flat. Like, and then we'll figure it out from there. But I can't do anything about it until it happens. So
yeah, you can. It's even happened.
right?
What the
Like,
fuck's going on?
Yeah.
You know, where did that come from? Was that dad, mom? Is that something, an instinct? Did you see it? You know,
it's so weird to me because I want to say it's I want to say it's my parents. It's a little bit of both. But at the same time, like I said, I have 2 sisters and we're all 3 of us are so completely different. Like I have I'm the youngest, and then my middle sister, Tanya, she is the complete opposite of me. She has to have everything planned, scheduled to a T, like, and we didn't get along for our entire lives.
Is she tomboyish or girlyish?
No, she's very girly. She's very like complete night and day difference from me.
Yeah.
And, so we never got along growing up. And then like later in our adult years, we started getting along. And now it's funny because I just like mess with her. Like I know that like she'll panic about certain things I do. Like I'll call her and be like, Tanya, I don't know where I'm at right now in the country. And she flips out for me. And I'm just like,
yeah, because you're so fucking crazy that she believes it. She's like,
and she just like, yeah, she's absolutely.
Are the signs
like,
in English or in Spanish?
right,
Like,
yeah, she like, I'm like, Tanya, I just don't even know. I said, I have no idea. And she's like, how do you do this? I just don't understand. And I'm like, I don't know, Tanya. Like, it's wild.
What do you mean you're on the moon? Like,
Right.
what the fuck?
She flips out. So, it's just, I don't know where I got it from. I think, a lot of it came from, there was a long time in my life that I tried to be in control of everything, that I was like, if I control all of this, then like, I'll know the outcome. Like, I want to know what's going on. I want to know how things are going to turn out.
That's
all
boring.
of that. And I just,
And
like
stressful.
I said, it never turns out that way anyway, ever.
Yeah.
And you can plan things to a T, and there could be something that just completely throws it off track. And then what? And then you don't know what to do because you're so focused on it going this way that you think it's going the wrong way just because it didn't go the way you planned, when in reality it's going a better way. So I just kind of like took a step back and I was like, you know what? I'm open to absolutely anything. Like, because the bigger picture and like what the universe and the world has in store for me could be way bigger than what I'm picturing right now. So I'm just going to kind of just let it go.
What you're saying is so casual, but it's so fucking deep. Like it's really fucking
so funny
deep
that you
shit.
say that because like I feel like I'm accidentally deep and I don't try to be, and I
No,
don't
but it's
realize
so
that I
fucking
am.
deep. Like the first thing that I'm defaulting to, there's a program in Los Angeles called Landmark. Have you ever heard of a Landmark?
I think so.
And
it sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's just like a 3-day course, and they kind of just teach you that, you know, they teach you of
Really?
like, just be fucking present. You're not your past, you are you now, and
Yep.
don't overthink things later, you know. And they give crazy examples, but like, you know, one example was a girl that got raped, and she's like, nobody's gonna love me, I'll never have a family, I'll never have kids, you know, I've been blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, that's not you. Like,
Yeah.
of course you can have, you know, this, that. Don't start putting things in people's heads that they don't even
100%.
You know, and it's a brainwash.
I think a lot of it just came from like, I never planned, like if you would have told me even 6 years ago that I would be living in California, I would tell you were absolutely crazy. I had an ex-boyfriend that was like, I want to move to Colorado. And I'm like, how could you ever move away from your hometown? Now I'm from a very small hometown.
Wow,
like very,
you said that.
like
why
less
would you
than,
leave your
yeah,
hometown?
it was like less than 2,000 people. Like my high school graduating class was like 250, 300 people. It was not that big at all. We have like horse and buggies. Like it's from an Amish town. Like it's a very hick town. Like, so if
like
you would have told me,
you buy cigarettes for your dad and stuff. And they're like, oh, no
it's
problem.
so-
Yeah.
yeah, it's actually true. You buy tobacco chew for everybody. They don't even smoke over there. So, so it was, and I was just like, how could you ever move away, like from your family, all of it? And then, like everything was unplanned. When we decided to move to Texas, it was a month before we moved, with like all of it. And even when I was living in Texas, I was
Your
like,
family moved to Texas too. No,
so when I got married,
that's sweet.
Yep. So that's when I started 13th Street Airbrushing. It originally was 13th Street Airbrushing because I was like only airbrushing and kind of just painting helmets and stuff. So I started that, and I went full time with it sooner than I could have by myself. Like if it was just me, I could not have gone full time with it. But at the time when I was married, he supported me. Like he had a very good job. He was like, you know what, chase your dreams. You're great. Like all of that. So I was like, cool. So then I got it up and going and everything. And then a couple years later, he came to me and he's like, I want to, because he was a damage appraiser as well. And he's like, I want to become a pilot. And I was like, okay, like you supported me in my dreams. Like, let's go support yours.
Because you were, you did the repairs.
Yeah.
No, just because I know we talked about it outside, but
yeah. So, he was like, well, the school's in Texas. And I was like, all right, let's go. So then, like, he got accepted and we up and moved to Texas. So then we were there for a year. He graduated and then we moved back to Pennsylvania. And then that's actually when we separated. So then we, like, I went back to Texas and he stayed in Pennsylvania. And then we stayed very good friends. Like, that's one thing about me and him. We were always very, very good friends from way before we were even married or dating to now. Like, we have a very good relationship. But, so we just kind of grew apart. We went different ways. And so then he, so he stayed in Pennsylvania and I came to Texas. And then even when I was in Texas, I would visit California. And the first time I came to California to that Airbrush event, Dave Montig, the owner of it, was like, you're going to move to SoCal one day. And I was like, no, I'm not. I said, I would never move here. I was like, what? No. And he was like, well, he said, let me know. He said, you have a job here if you do. And I was like, no. Like, I was like, that's not going to happen. So. And that was just a year ago. And here I am. So I feel like my whole mentality of just like,
have you hit him up? Have you told him?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The day that I moved, I was like, I live here now, Dave. Like, what's up? Like, you were right. And he's like, I knew it. He said, I knew it was just a matter of time. But, my whole mentality of just like, letting things happen and just like not like just being open to whatever is going to happen came from that, because if I would have planned it, I feel like I would have stayed in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
like,
you would have planned something in 100%. Pennsylvania.
Yep, I would have stayed at my damage appraiser job. I would have been cool with that. I would have been, because that's the thing. My life wasn't bad. Like, even when I was married, it wasn't unhappy by any means. Like, I knew that there was more out there for both of us, just both me and him. And I was like, I'm happy, but I'm mediocrely happy, and I'm not okay with that. Like, I'm here once, and I'm here trying to, like, because I'm medically depressed, all of that. So I spent too much of my life already, like, just being worried and upset and all of that. I said, the rest of my time on this earth, like, however long it is, it's going to be absolutely
sunshine and
the most highest form of happy that I could possibly go after. And that's just what I've been after since.
I want to say congratulations. That's super badass. And California, there's a lot of crazy shit happening in California right now. But the point is that people come here to make money. Mm-hmm. And if you can find your niche, there is business 100%. 12 months out of the year. And it's unlimited business. Yep. Whatever it is, if it's acting, if it's painting, if it's motorcycles, you find your niche, which you have, there's no breaks. There's no, 100%. 3 months of snow, like, just close up the shop.
Exactly. And that's the thing about Pennsylvania. So the months of May through September was your only warm months, and even May and September are kind of pushing it. Like, so June through August, you are dead. There is no helmets, there is no bikes, there is absolutely nothing, because everyone's out riding. Literally that too. So then when you come out here, it's just all year round. Like I'm expecting to slow down like I usually do, and I'm not. And I'm like, this is great. I'm here for it.
No,
like,
now you got
ready.
The girlfriend that wants to get a helmet painted for her boyfriend for Christmas. Like,
exactly. So it's just, I'm super thankful to be out here. And like, I love, it's just the mecca of custom paint out here. And I didn't really,
motorcycles.
That too. I didn't really realize it until I actually moved. And I'm like, wow, like this is the scene of scenes of just custom paint and motorcycles and lowriders and everything. Like, this is like, I grew up with monster trucks and tractors and all of that, and like, here I am.
Tractors.
I'm like, I'm like, this is what, I'm like, this is what I've been missing.
Snow plows.
Literally just like crazy stuff. And this is like, I love it out here. I would never trade it for the world. And people call me crazy all the time. Like you said, they're like, everyone's moving out of California, you're coming to it. And I'm like, you got like, yes, California can suck 100%. But everywhere can suck, number one. And number two, there is no state that I've been to yet that I feel is as beautiful as California. And just like how I clicked with everything here, like I mean, like, I love the people here. Like, I have some of my most best friends here. Some people who have come through for me, like Laurel, that have never, like, would never come through for me in any other state. Like, I don't know. I don't see it as like what other people see it as.
You found the beautiful California part, and you're not dealing with the generic Californian. You're dealing with the niche of the motorcycle community.
That's very true.
The motorcycle community is more loyal and more friend, and like, hey, my tire popped, whatever the case is. The motorcycle community will go through. Outside of that, there's a bunch of fucking flaky 100%. Hollywood, and it's not just Hollywood and flaky. It's just you live in LA. What people don't understand is you're going to work in like 3, 4, 5 different cities, and you're spending your whole day in traffic.
Yeah.
So by the time you're done, it's like, fuck, man, I'm on this side of town. You're on that side. I can't make it, dude. I'm like, it doesn't work. But when you have like a shop and a hub and a niche, it starts going together. And when you get that in California, plus the beautiful weather, and you're making money,
right?
And there's cool fucking trades, and fucking life is great. That's so then you're like, fuck, what are people complaining about? This is the greatest fucking state in the world.
I've gotten like heated arguments about it because they're like, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, and they're like, it's so expensive. And I'm like, you don't go to Hawaii and expect to like not pay for stuff.
Yeah, but
like,
you charge like 5 times more per your fucking paint. You know,
very true.
A helmet, you're going to charge, you know, whatever. I'm making up numbers. This is not her prices.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, you can charge like $200-$300 somewhere else. In California, you're paying $900 to $1,500 for a helmet.
Yep.
You know?
And that's the thing
and then
about
you start getting more booked up, and then the prices go up, and people are willing to pay because
that's one thing about California is like people have the money to spend out here. If you have the money to live out here, you have the money to spend out here. True. So that's just it's just I don't know. It just all worked out. So I'm super glad that I ended up out here in the weird, unplanned way that I did. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. And we
talked about it outside, but let's talk about your painting career.
Yeah.
So you this wasn't a plan.
No, never. This was never like I never had. Like I said, like I was diagnosed depression from a very young age. So I never had plans necessarily. Like, and I didn't think that was like an abnormal thing.
I want to talk about that. Like, was it really something that you felt, the depression,
no.
or was it something that you kind of like, they were kind of saying you are depressed, so you must be depressed?
I don't even know. So I was diagnosed at 14 and, like, my mom kind of like I don't want to say she didn't push anybody to like necessarily diagnose me by any means, but she definitely was like, there's not something right with, not something right with you, but like, she's like, there's just like something like you need, I don't even know how to put it. Right. Like, she was like, I don't even know how to put it nicely, but because she wasn't mean about it, like by any means, but I had a very hard time just like growing up. Even just like social interactions and stuff. Or no, social? Like I just, I didn't get along with a whole lot of people. I wasn't like I didn't really have plans for anything. Like I didn't see a future. Like I didn't,
you have goals or?
Yeah, I didn't have any goals. Like I was just kind of like going through the motions of what life should be. Like I was just like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So this is what I do. Yeah. Like I have to. I followed like my sister was a cheerleader. So I was like, I don't know. I just kind of like just followed in footsteps and like, I had a lot of like just really rough times. Like, that I definitely was just in really dark places. I wouldn't like come out of my room or anything. So she was like, okay. And like, we had a family friend doctor. So like, it was very like, it wasn't like a corporate medical thing. Like it was a very closed, like family friend type of thing. So, I didn't really understand it at first. I was like, okay, these people are like calling me depressed. They're putting me on these like these meds. I don't know what's going, like whatever. Like I don't feel any different. Like is what it is, you know? So then
you didn't feel different after you took the medication? Or
no, not at all. So then I was like, I don't understand any of this, whatever. So then, I don't know. I didn't really think anything of it. It wasn't until, actually like right after college that I really started like looking into it, that I was like,
years.
Yeah, literally years that so like I said, I didn't really have any plans. My mom came to me my senior year and she's like, you got to go to college or pay rent. So I was like, well, send me to college. Let's go. I'm not paying rent. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. Send me to college for anything at this point. I don't care.
And she's mentioned fine art, right?
Yeah. She was like, well, like, let's like, she put me in a lot of art classes, like just through high school and stuff. And I never did well in them. I was a problem child. Like I got suspended. Yeah. I know. I got suspended. I got like all the time. I never got in fights necessarily, but I definitely, I was a little sassy. So
you give teachers hard times, yeah. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah. When, especially.
You ever make a teacher cry?
No, but, I've never saw a teacher cry, but I probably have, I don't know. Miss C, sorry. I definitely, yes, that was her. She suspended me a few times, but she was my art teacher. And so that like, she was the one that was like, I can't do this. I thought it was, I can't be told what to draw. I can't be told what to do. I just want to do what I want. So I was like, I can't make a career out of that. Cause that's all art is being told. Like you can do art, but they're going to tell you what they want. So I was like, I can't do that. So my mom, she was like, go to school for fine art. Like, you're going to love it. I said, absolutely not. Like, nope, don't do that. And plus I did not have good enough grades for that. I did not apply myself in school at all. Like I could have done way better. Like I got into all like the AP classes and stuff, but once I got there, I was like, I'm kind of over it. Like homework was not my thing. I never did homework. That was like my main thing that really screwed me in school. But, then, she was like, well, you like painting. she's like, you like kind of art and stuff and you like cars. You've always been into that stuff. Like, why don't you go to school for painting cars? And I was like, okay. I mean, that sounds kind of cool. Like,
you never painted a car till that point?
No, okay. Nope. And like, my uncle went to school for collision repair at the same school actually, but I didn't know about it until after I started going there and stuff. So she was like, well, it was April of my senior year. She's like, so you're probably not going to get in this year. So she said, so apply, take a year off and work or whatever, then just go the next year. And so, it's technically a trade school, but it's a college. Like you actually get a degree and stuff instead of just a certification. So, they were like trying to really just like push their school and stuff. So I applied, and then it was within a couple of weeks that I got in for that year, and I was really excited about it. So, then that fall I started in collision school and then took off from there. So
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And how long did you do that for?
So I started in 2013, and then I worked in a restoration shop till about 2015. And then I started damage appraising in 2014 as well on the side, and then I took that on full time for a couple years. And then when I started custom painting, it was 2016 was when I started airbrushing and stuff. And then I went full time with that 2017. So
and cars are much easier than motorcycles, right?
No.
So,
well, probably to some people, in my opinion. So there's 2 and 2. Cars are a lot more work. Obviously, you have a lot more service area. They're for custom painting. When it comes to only the custom painting process, they're probably slightly easier because all the panels are there. They're all lined up. You don't got to worry about any of that. On the bike, you gotta worry about the flow and all of that. But on cars, there's, like I said, so much surface area and so much that you have to make symmetrical, and so much that like. It's so easy on a tank. Like I can just look over to one side and then look over to the other. The car is such a big area. Like
you gotta walk around.
Yeah, and there's so much measuring. There's so much all of that, and just
you gotta
like
exit the building, go around the other side.
Pretty much. Literally. So and then between that and just like all the disassembly and the reassembly, like I enjoy painting bikes a lot more, and just I don't know, just my love for motorcycles comes into that too. So
I was watching some of your videos. They're fucking amazing. Like the steady hand of you doing what you're
it's a very strategic process. I call myself a conditional pinstriper because I can't do it every day. Like I gotta eat, I gotta do a lot of different things before the
time the sun has to be
literally I gotta be in a good mood. Like if I'm pissed now, like I can't do it. Like it's
I don't pinstripe.
Literally that's how all my painting is though. Like I do my best work when I'm in like my best mood and everything. So
did you like a whole fucking music?
Yeah, I'm just like I gotta get in my own little world and stuff, and like it's very like important, the shop environment that I'm in. Like I have to feel comfortable. I have to do all of that. So like it's just, it all plays a part in it, which is always why I said that I never will work for anybody, because I can't. Like I have to work on my own schedule. I have to work on my own time. Like it's just not efficient for me to work for somebody else, for both me or you, because like I don't know.
You're gonna wait, yeah.
Yeah,
you're
that's
gonna
just
wait until
it.
I fucking feel good.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. That's exactly how it is. So.
It's funny because people see a value to that. People, I've always said that people like being mistreated. There's something.
Maybe, man.
People like people respond to being mistreated. I don't know what it is, but it's like if somebody
maybe
says,
that's my problem. I was being too nice all this time.
Yeah, if you say yeah, like literally people walk away and they sucker her fucking does anything. How stupid, desperate to paint my shit, you know. But when you're like no, you're like, I have to get it done by that person. Right? Like, well, when can you leave me the fuck alone? Like,
100%.
Will you call me? Like,
yeah, I try to tell people all the time. I'm like, if
people like being mistreated. It's legit.
It's definitely it's so weird because I have
not in everything, obviously.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But like, I'm talking about the psychological thing that if there's something you want, like even when a guy's chasing a girl or a girl's chasing a guy,
it's the whole thing of you want what you can't have.
You want what you can't have. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you make it unavailable,
I'm not saying if you go to a restaurant, somebody's an asshole.
That's
they
how
like
it is, though. If you say like, if I like tell you that like I'm like I'll take your bike on anytime, they're like, nah. But if I tell you that I'm booked out till October or November, they're like, well, I want it now. And I'm like, well,
what if I pay you another $500, $1,000 more,
like, all right, well,
take Bitcoin. Yeah,
you take your Bitcoin. What kind of trade you got? Shit.
What's the craziest adventure ride you've had?
Oh, the whole when I did the 1K in a day, and so.
You did a 1K in a day?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So so I was sitting in Texas one day, and
sounds like a movie,
right?
/
Let me set
joke.
the scene, right?
Yeah.
I walked into a bar. No, so I was sitting in Texas one day, and one of my friends was there with me, and he had some bikes down in Texas, and he was going to rent a U-Haul truck to get them back to California because he lived in California. And so we were sitting at the bar. Weird. Okay, so we were sitting at a bar.
Wait a minute.
Wait, back up. And he was just like looking at U-Haul trucks or whatever. So then another one of our friends hit us up. He's from Idaho. And he messaged me and he said, hey, I just bought this bike in Dallas. He said, how do you think I should get it home? And I just talk a bunch of shit, right? I'm like, you're a bitch, ride it. And he was like, all right.
Sack up
He
your
was like,
balls.
yeah. I was like, let's go.
Jump, yeah.
And so then I had to be in Reno, Nevada in 2 weeks for Street Vibes. I was doing, I was pinstriping up there. And so then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, wait a second. I said, Brian, fly down here. I'll ride back with you. I said, Joe, you take my truck. You put your bikes in my truck and then I'll meet you in California. And so then Joe left with my truck with his
Bring
bikes.
my pink,
Yeah, right.
And you ended it with, bitch.
Right, like, let's go. We're making this happen. So he left. And then Brian flew down to Texas. We went and bought this bike. And then we're sitting in my apartment the day we were like, it was a Sunday night, I'm pretty sure. And we're sitting there and I'm like, Brian, what if we did 1,000 miles in a day? And he's like, what if we did? And I was like, let's go. So like, mind you, we literally just decided this trip 3 days before. He flew down to Texas the next day, bought this bike, and we're like, let's do this trip. I have never been on a long distance trip in my life. This bike is not set up for me. I do not have any rain gear. I don't have tools. I don't have bags. I don't have anything. I'm just like, let's go. I don't have a visor on my helmet. I don't have a windshield. I don't have a fairing. I don't have any of that.
Nothing.
I have this little Sportster. I was like, we're going. So I have a best friend that lives in Phoenix, and he was 1,069 miles from my house. And I was like, that's where we're going today. So we left Texas at 4 a.m. and we got to Arizona with like 6 minutes to spare because Brian's bike broke down. Yep. So not mine,
Fucking
Brian's.
Brian.
Yeah, right? So then we fixed that and kept on going. And then we stayed in Phoenix for like a day. We just rode around there because we were tired as hell. And then we left from Phoenix.
You're tired of riding a Sportster?
Right? I was just like, well, even so I've never had a fairing in my life. So like everyone's like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just going.
Yeah,
like,
if you have
I'm
nothing
just,
to compare it
yeah,
to.
literally.
Like,
I was like, I had no idea. So then we left Phoenix. We came to LA. And then we rode up PCH to NorCal. And then we met up with my truck and Joe and the rest of the bikes. Then we rode over to Street Vibes in Reno. Brian went home from there, and then I rode back to NorCal. I came back down to LA for that airbrush event, and then I went back up to NorCal, and then I loaded my bike and I went home. It was like 3,500 miles altogether, and I did get a windshield at like mile 3,200, and I was like, oh my God.
Oh,
I was like,
I was crazy.
Yeah, I was like, this is what everyone's talking about. I was like, this is insane. No wonder.
I am out of my mind.
Yeah,
This is
like,
fucking weird. I had no idea.
Guys,
Guys, you're right. Like,
Yeah,
I just really realized how fucking crazy
I posted on Instagram. I was like, yo, y'all are right, man. Like, I'm freaking psycho for doing that.
Who the
like,
fuck
no,
was that?
right?
I don't know what got into me.
Yeah, I was like, nope. So then,
That's fucking hilarious.
So then that was September, October. And then I went back to Texas for a little bit. And then I did a coast to coast trip again. That was like my 6th one last year in the truck. And then just because I had like a cousin's wedding to go to and stuff.
Ugh,
I was
fucking
like,
cousin's wedding.
cousins. So then,
Again.
yeah,
She's
right.
married again. It's the
So
third time
then-
this year. I'm kidding.
So, no, you're fine. So I was like, come on. I literally, so then
Who
my
gets
sister's
married,
literally,
dude?
so then my sister's pregnant right now and they texted me and they're like, yeah, baby shower is like August 7th. I said, can y'all stop having life events that I have to come home for? Like I am across the country, like chill for just a year because
Zoom.
Like,
Have you heard of Zoom?
right? I
Yeah.
was like, can I just FaceTime in for this?
Can I send a
ship you-
robot that
Right.
just walks that I just...
That's how I was. And then like, that's my sister that panics. I said, Tanya, I'm kidding. Relax. Like I'll be there. Chill out. She flew into Texas one day and I was like, she texted me for like 3 weeks straight. She's like, I'm flying in this day. I'm flying in this day. I'm flying in this day.
Don't forget.
And I was like,
Don't
okay.
forget. Make sure you're there.
And like the day of, I'm like, which day do you fly in again? And she was like, Shayna. Yeah, she was flipping out.
I gotta go to
was
California.
Like, yeah, I was like, oh, I'm not even home right now. Like, but no.
That's
I
not a
just,
good
like-
day.
Yeah, I was like, I just
Why
mess
not?
with- Yeah, she's that's funny. But yeah, then what were we talking about?
We were talking about getting into painting.
Oh, right. Then the
And
craziest
then we were
trip.
talking about the craziest
Yeah,
trip.
so then that was that. And then redid my bike. I like tore it all down and everything January, February. And now I'm about to do it again.
That's fucking dope.
Because it's just what I do, I guess.
Is there a motorcycle you like painting compared to other ones? Like, do you like baggers? Like,
I hate baggers.
You hate
I
baggers.
despise baggers.
Really?
Yes. I will. Because so I worked at that shop for.
You're gonna have so many people call you up right now to be paint my bagger, paint my.
For
Give
real.
you extra money.
First of all, I'm a tiny person, so all the parts are bigger than me. Like,
You're like
I'm
more in the
literally
saddle.
yes, like because they're all like just fiberglass together, and I'm over here like trying to move all these parts and figure out a way to paint all sides at once.
You
It's
open
just
the
a
lid, it's
pain,
like,
yeah, it's just a pain in my ass. So I'm like, this is annoying. Like I can fit in one of these bags probably.
Yeah.
Like, so then
You probably can. Huh?
there's been times that I'm like, I'm gonna try this, but.
Yeah.
So
Don't do that.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No.
But
I know you're joking.
yeah.
but
Oh,
don't.
100%
But
joking. Yeah. No. So then, I just there are so many parts to them, and that's what people don't realize about baggers is there's like 15 to 20 parts alone to a bagger. So as far as bikes that I love to paint, I love dynos because they're big enough that you can do some really cool stuff with it, but they're still small enough that they're not like a full on bagger.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I'm not spending way too long on too, especially because there's just so much surface area on them. But
What have you done anything other than Harley? Like, have you ever done like a BMW or
so I haven't done
like Kawasaki?
I've done some Hondas and stuff, some like choppers and some Yamahas and stuff like that.
But
I
it's
haven't
always
done,
that style.
Yeah, it's always that like that just like bike or I don't really know how you
I saw Pan America once.
Yeah.
And that one had like a cool custom pinstriping, metal flaking.
There's a friend of mine, Fast Life Jace from the Fast Life Garage.
Yeah, he's been on the podcast.
Yeah, he painted a Pan America. He did a flame job on it, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say we did each other, but what I meant is,
yeah, you
what
gotta
I
be
mean,
careful.
Jace, no, we recorded an episode and then he published.
There's
it on
things
his.
I didn't know about Jace till now, so okay.
Yeah, no, Jace is badass.
He's really cool.
I was gonna see if you met him.
Yeah, I was on his podcast back in September, actually, right before I did that whole cross country trip, which I'm so upset about. I wish I did it afterwards because like
More stories.
yeah, oh, more stories and just like that trip completely just transformed me as a person. There was a lot.
How?
I don't even know how.
I got her, Jace. I got her.
Right? Like I don't even know. Like it just. Like I said, it's one of those things I never expected that I could do. I never thought that I could do it. And part of that trip I did by myself. So then when I left NorCal and came down to LA and back up to NorCal, I did by myself. And it gave me a confidence that like, cause I was somebody who always worried about like, what's the parking situation like when I get there? Like, am I going to have to ride on gravel? Like, do I got to ride through a field? What do I got to do here? Because like,
push the bike,
yeah, like what's going on? Like I need to figure it out. And like,
am I wearing heels?
Yeah, right?
Am I wearing shoes?
What
What the
am I
fuck's
doing?
going on, dude?
And then after that trip, I was just like, whatever, I'll figure it out when I get there. Like, is what it is. Like, I don't know if it like, it was just like I came back from it and I was just transformed. It wasn't like a specific event or a specific series of events that happened. It was just the overall experience of that trip just gave me like, all of my friends joked about like we quote unquote like the hog years, how like you just experience so much more. Like, because that trip was only a month-long trip, but I look back and I feel like I was I feel like it was a lifetime ago. Like the person that I was before that trip versus the person that I am now is two completely different people that I feel like usually would take like a 5-year transformation to get into. But like that happened over a month just because it was motorcycles. And then it's really cool. Like, to be able to experience that because that happens now every time you get on a bike. Like it's just
again, it's back to this powerful thought process that you have that people think I can't do it. In 5 years I'll do it. In 5 years I'll do it. Or this transformation is going to take this. But like if you just jump in and do it, you become somebody else.
100%.
You don't even think that you're capable of doing it.
I actually saw a quote the other day, and it was perfect. And it was like, if I waited till I had all my ducks in a row, I would never get across the street. It said, sometimes you just got to gather up what you got and go for it. And
yeah,
that's
100%.
What I always do, because like that's the truth. There's always something. I could always wait until I'm more financially stable, or I could always wait till I'm older, or I could always wait until something. But then you're always waiting. You're always just. Then what's the point of it? So if I just wait for that, I can do this shit while I'm waiting for it. Like I'll figure it out. Like it's.
Well, it's like the podcast. The podcast I was waiting for, the weather and the climate and the sun, and the stars, and when they're lined up and it's perfect because I need
the
this
right
mic.
Moon phase.
Yeah, I can't use a USB mic.
Yeah,
I need this device and the table has to look like this. But like, finally, I had a buddy of mine. He was like, dude, shut up. Let's just push record.
Yeah.
And push record. And now I hear the first episodes. They're terrible.
Oh, 100%. I look at work that I'm like, whoa, God. Oh,
I did
no.
not do that.
Yeah, no. I mean, when I started custom painting, I started in my ex-in-law's basement. Like, and it was like a full setup living room, couches, everything. They built me this like little airbrush booth with like a vent out like the top of it. And I was literally wet sanding stuff in my bathtub. It was funny though. Somebody just messaged me the other day and they were talking to me. They were just asking me questions about tape, like really simple questions. And they're like, I'm so sorry, I'm new here, blah, blah, blah. They're like, my setup's not even that great. I said, don't even worry about it. I said, you're doing it. I said, keep doing it. I said,
Absolutely.
I didn't start with anything. I said, I was wet sanding motorcycle parts in my freaking bathtub. Like, I was like, that's just how it is, but I got it done. And like,
I'm happy to name your brand, like, bathtub, wet sand,
right.
like paint now.
I actually,
like,
well, I didn't like, not that like I was like ashamed of it by any means, but I used to be very weird about just like where people like knew I was painting because like my booths always haven't been professional booths. Like some of them have very much so been homemade. So, and some people just like it, but I will say some of those homemade booths I got the cleanest paint jobs out of. Like I went and did like an actual
fucking
booth.
zone.
Yeah,
you were at peace.
I went to an actual booth at one point and I got one of the worst paint jobs ever. And I was like, this is backwards. And like, I feel so wrong right now because like, this is not right. But it's just getting used to your environment and getting settled into a shop.
Yeah, that happens too. If your environment's, if you're doing it like ghetto, you're like, I feel good.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Like nobody cares.
Yeah.
But when you get into like some pro shit, you're like, this is intimidating.
Oh, 100%. Which I'm thankful that I was in a body shop before that like, that's where I came from.
You did get some experience.
Yeah. So that was definitely nice. And even like when I first started custom painting, I would still, for a while, I would travel around to different body shops and I would fill in. So if like their painter went on vacation, I would just come in and paint while he was gone just so that they could keep the body shop moving. So I did that for a long time and I liked that because then I'm like, oh, I'm just working. I just work for you for a week. That's fine. I can do that. Like, that's totally cool. And then I eventually just stopped because I loved custom painting so much. And then I wanted to focus solely on everything that I could to make 13th Street. Well, now 13th Street Customs what it is. So
I was going to just ask that. Where does that come from? Is that like the gang 13?
Nope. So 13th Street
Kidding.
Customs. No, you're kidding.
So 13. This is not
13th Street Customs was
where
never,
I murdered people. No,
right? I mean, you better watch out. Shit. I'm a little feisty sometimes, but
shit.
13th Street Customs was never on 13th Street. I always like everyone jokes about it and that it never was. I named it. So
I thought I was the only one that joked about it.
Right?
Fuck.
So the apprentice that I started learning airbrush from, he goes by the name The Bizarrest. And I always thought it was so cool. He's one of the most amazing helmet painters in the country. I will stand by it through and through.
Shout out to The Bizarrest.
Yeah, 100%. And he'll text me after this and he'll be like, you're dumb for saying that. And I'm like, nope. Like that, I give him my sole credit, even to winging a lot of it, because there were times that I was not apprenticing for him anymore. Even times now, I could call him up today and I'm like, hey, JR, like, I want to do this on this helmet. I want to use this. I want to do this. Like, what do you think's going to happen? Like, I don't know how this is going to look. And he's like, I don't know. Try it. He's like, figure it out. Wing it. And like, literally, he's like, just do it. And I'd go there and I'm like, what do you think would happen to this? And he's like, I don't know. Let's try it and figure it out. And like, so that always gave me the foundation that I was like, cool, I can just try this. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'll try something else. So, where was I going with this? What were we talking about?
Your apprentice and 13th Street.
Oh, right. So he had this really cool name. And I was like, well, shit, if I'm going to do this, I need something cool. Like, you know? And then, I grew up like drawing out graffiti. I always loved graffiti. I still love graffiti.
See, that's what I wanted to squeeze out of you. Where the fuck did this art stuff come from? So
graffiti is my through and through where this came from. Like, I don't even know, like I don't remember the first time I saw it. None of that. Like I'm deep, but I ain't that deep type of thing. So, I always grew up sketching it. And now I'm from like I said, I'm from a small town, so we don't really have graffiti. Like, it's not really like,
yeah, you do it. Everybody knows who did it.
Yeah, right. Literally, you can't do anything.
What are you doing,
like,
Steve?
That's exactly what it is. You like call up your mom and it's like, yo, your daughter's out here doing this shit. Like, come get her. And I'm like, damn it. That's happened multiple times.
You're like doing it in your own house.
Yeah,
there's
like,
nowhere to do it.
Right. I'm like, I'm like, come on, dude. And so I don't know if it was always because it was like so foreign to me, but I love the freedom that you have with it, because there's no rules to it. There's no like, it has to be this, it has to be this style, it has to be this color, it has to be this, like, there's nothing. You can do absolutely anything in graffiti. And so I always loved the use of colors, just like the 3D-ness.
But that's not true, because there's people that suck at graffiti. It's like, what the fuck?
Like,
you can't mix red with fucking whatever. Like,
right? So, I mean, there's those situations. But
like, if I were to do it, it'd be shit. It'd be dog shit.
No, not necessarily. You know, maybe it'll be really good.
No, I
actually, if I did graffiti, it would be horrible. My fingers aren't strong enough to actually like control the spray cans or anything. Like,
I'm sure there's little adapters and shit.
I'm sure there is.
A trigger.
I'd have to like really figure it out. So there's actually this really cool place in Dallas, and it's called the Fab Yard, and it's this guy that private owns is like all these abandoned buildings, and he lets people go and just graffiti whatever they want. And there's actually amazing, like there's like certain buildings that are just like crazy shit that you could just go spray paint, but then there's some of them that are like amazing like works of art, and it's really cool because nobody paints over them. Like everybody's very respectable of it, and it's just all this amazing art. But I grew up sketching it. I would just have sketchbooks. Javier Soto actually told me that it was called a black book graffiti artist because you never actually did graffiti, you would only sketch it. And so
that's an interesting term,
right? So he told, because I was taking one of his classes one time, and he asked me the same thing, and I told him that. He was like, "Oh, you were a black book graffiti artist," and I said, "Oh, a what?" I was like, "That sounds wrong." Yeah. And he was like,
"It is.
Yeah,
it's actually very
like,
wrong."
Yeah, right. So then
come up with your own shit,
right?
You have to learn,
right? So I would always sketch it out, and I would have I still have them. I have tons and tons of sketchbooks of graffiti, and I still do every once in a while. But that's kind of just like how I started, and then. Like I said, my mom really pushed fine art for a while, and I was like, this ain't it. This is not it at all. And then, I don't know. So then that's just kind of like where the artist part came of it. So then when I came up with my name, I was like, well, I always liked like a street style of graffiti. Like I always liked street art and stuff like that. And I like the number 13. My favorite number is 17, but it didn't really flow that well. So I liked 13. And I was like, well, 13, street airbrushing. Like, why not? I was like, it kind of flows. And then, I ran with it for a while. It turned into more than just airbrushing. And then I just kept it for a long time. And then my business was solely Instagram based. That's how I got all my business. That's how I marketed all of it.
Fucking
100%. So I was 13 Street Airbrushing for a while, and then that page got deleted. So then by Instagram, they said I was a robot. I was like, no, but I'm not. So then I couldn't find it. I still can't find it to this day. I tried to appeal it. Instagram tells me that the page never existed. But then when I tried to make a new page with the same name, they said that it already existed. So it's just lost in the abyss. So then that's when I changed it to 13th Street Customs. And I was like, well, it works out anyway because I'm way more than just airbrushing. Because a lot of people didn't know that I pinstripe and paint and do everything too based off that name. So I was like, whatever. Everything happens for a reason. So 13th Street Customs it is. So that's
no, it's a great name.
So thank you.
But your lucky number is 17.
Yeah, my lucky number is 17.
And that's just came to you, the stars?
My birthday is February 17th. I used to play basketball growing up. I was a basketball player.
You're number 17?
Yep, I was number 17.
That's cool.
My lucky number is actually 7. I won a Wheel of Fortune game off of that, like 3 times in one day off of that number. So like it's always been 7. Yep. And then like I've always liked double digit numbers, so then it just turned into 17. So that's always been my number, but aside from 13, but.
And I got a question on helmets.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult is it? Because you got to take apart the whole helmet, right?
Yeah. So you have to take it. Like I actually avoid helmets a lot, like just because of that. They're just not practical to paint. I mean, if you want a custom painted helmet,
I've seen some helmets you've painted. Yeah. They're fucking badass.
Thank you. I appreciate that. They're definitely, and I tell people that I'm like, if you want a custom painted helmet, that's great. But when it comes to like the price comparison between painting a bike versus painting a helmet, it's not going to make sense because it seems like it's so much less work to paint this helmet, but when in reality it's not. Like you have to take so much care for it and so much, just all of it. And so it's,
Can we talk about the process? Like, do you sketch it and design it before
Absolutely
you take it apart?
Nope.
No,
I don't. So I don't sketch or design anything. Nope. They're like people.
Like, I close my fucking eyes and whatever comes out, and that's it.
My customers are like, so like.
Can you choose your colors? Absolutely not. You give me. That's it. You pay extra if you talk to me.
That's pretty much how it goes. Sometimes, like people are like, I'm
They're like,
so
I wanted a rabbit. It's a fucking bear that's chewing up a shark or some shit.
I'm so excited to see my helmet. I'm like, I am too, homie. I am too. Like I don't know. And they're like, they ask me all the time. They're like, do you do a sketch?
They're like, you're funny.
I'm just like, no. Here's the thing. I could sketch a helmet out. And yeah, sometimes I do start with that. But I never like to necessarily like give the client that sketch because it's going to look entirely different by the end of it. Like,
Right.
because just like the
You're like,
process
"Can I see
of
that
it.
sketch?"
Yeah. Right. Like exactly. Like I think of different things along the way. Like I have different ideas, like, especially working in a shop that I do with other artists and with other painters, like they'll come over and be like, well, what if you do this? And I'm like, yeah, like, fuck yeah. What if I did that? Like, that'd be dope. So like, it just, I don't like to kind of limit myself to a sketch, which like some people need that. I get it. But I just, like I said, I just kind of wing it. And like, I mean.
And that's when your true art comes out.
Yeah. That's when my best art comes out 100% through and through. There's no doubt about it. So.
True art. It sounds like a fucking fairy tale.
I mean,
and that's when you follow your heart and you can paint anything.
Fairy tale dreams. But so that's just.
I got one of those.
I kind of wing it. Plus like.
Ta-da.
No, what? That's so cool.
Yeah. Follow your heart and you can do anything.
I love that so much. Yes, that's so
Yeah,
great.
you gotta have one of the. Hold on, and then. I should use these more often.
Yeah, you should have.
Yeah.
You should have said that after I got my divorce. Yeah. Right? That's when that all should have happened. That would have been great. But
congrats on your divorce.
Yeah,
usually it's when two people don't get along, they have a divorce.
See,
it's a good thing.
And I say it like sometimes I don't realize how casual I am. Like just a casual about I am about everything. And I'm just like, yeah, like I say it like in the midst of everything and everyone's like, wait, what? And I'm like, it's fine. Everything like it's okay.
Yeah,
like it just
I tell
is what
people
it
congratulations
is. Like,
all the time.
Yeah, I'm just like we are both in way better places. Like he's doing amazing with he's a commercial pilot now. He's doing great with his career and he's very happy. So, you know, good like it all worked out.
I was at this snobby party, and I heard the snobbiest thing in the world, and it was so bad. I was like, "Really? Wow!" It was one lady, and she's like, "Yes, my son is a pilot for American Airlines."
Oh God!
And the other one was like, "Oh, so your son is a air taxi driver?" Like, I was like, oh shit! Like, fuck! I was like, I'm walking away.
Damn!
You know? Like, I'm gonna get some.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna.
crap.
Do you guys want to drink?
Yeah.
I'm
gonna have to get a martini dirty.
Right? Oh, that's
But
funny.
can you imagine?
Right?
He's an air taxi driver.
Like, I can only imagine what I'm gonna be like. What do you do for a living? That's like, because I'm over here like, holy hell, a commercial pilot. Like I saw the shit he did. And I'm like, nope, no sir, absolutely not. Like, and then you're saying that, like, homie, what do you do?
Yeah,
like,
well,
I'm very
what the
intrigued.
fuck are you doing?
Like,
Yeah,
what
that-
kind of engineer are you?
In that same party, somebody was saying something about like they're like, oh, and blah 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 peasants, and I was like, yeah, imagine.
What were you doing at
Yeah,
this party?
This was
I
in
wanna know how
Dubai.
you-
This was in Dubai. Yeah, this is weird.
Wait.
But check this out. Look. I'm trying to blend in, right?
Right.
So I'm like,
who are you now?
I'm like, yeah, because I would be like, excuse me, peasants, and they would be like, you know what they told me? Why would you say excuse me to a peasant? Like they're like, you're fake. I was like, oh, I mean, cut off his head.
I'm like trying to be polite. Wait.
Yeah. Excuse me,
So
peasant.
good,
Why would
right?
you say
I want to know what to do. There's his prepper at the shop that he like goes and gets lunch for everybody, and he's like,
What do you mean?
want?
What I was doing there? I belong there. Damn it! The fuck is your problem?
That party. I was just, how do you get in? There are certain situations that I'm like, how the fuck did I get here?
I was the
Like,
bus boy, you know.
You're like, no, I attended. I was on the guest list.
Yeah.
There are sometimes I'm like, just like, I don't know how I got here. Like I was on actually a podcast recently at the Live Fast rally, and I was like, I don't know how I got here. like went back. My friend Laurel, she's like, where were you? And I said, I ended up on a podcast. I don't know how. Like,
I don't know how.
I was there. So it all works out, I guess.
Are you going to Born Free?
I am.
Are you working it?
No. So I don't work shows. Street Vibes I did only because I piggybacked off someone else so I could come and go as I wanted. I can't work shows because I get really bitchy. I get very moody. I work like because you're working way too much. Some artists can do that.
You ever stab anybody? Like I haven't ached.
Sometimes,
I'm kidding.
See,
that's
but that's the
thing. We're recording.
Yeah, right. Like, do not admit to that.
No,
so
they can't
that's
see your
one
right
thing. Right. So that's one thing that I do have to have is somebody to help me because I've never stopped painting and like I have to obviously I have to eat, especially pinstriping. That's one of my parameters. I have to eat before I pinstripe because I can't get all shaky, you know?
Yeah.
So
when you get hungry, you like fucking
I'm like, let's go. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I can't do anything. I'm like, I gotta eat all of it. So I don't work shows just because it's too much pressure. I worked Sturgis a few times. Like I did, and like you make a good amount of money and they're fun, but like I also, being a rider myself, I want to go do the rides, especially like Reno. Like I was super thankful I could still do the ride to Virginia City. Mount Rose is one of my favorite roads in the country to ride. So I can't work shows unless it's a very like flexible thing. So I just attend them. But I do it, I don't want to say I do it in a strategic way, but I like, because I revolved my entire life around my career and motorcycles specifically, when I go to these events, even if I don't have a booth, I'm still getting business from them. I'm still talking to people. That's how I met all these people that I know, is events like that. That's how I know all my clients. That's how, like, you'll be talking to somebody about some, like, one of my bikes will be there that I painted. I'll be like, oh, I painted that. Somebody will come over and like join in the conversation. They're like, oh, well, I have a bike. And I'm like, well, I got some guns. Let's go. Like, let's figure it out. So I actually get a lot more business that way than being caught up painting somebody's bike the whole time and not being able to talk to people about their paint jobs. So, and I'm enjoying it during that time too. Like, I'm just hanging out and having a good time. So it's a nice balance of work and party. That's for sure. So
yeah, it's like a social club almost. Like, oh, there's an event. Cool. Yep. Let me drink a beer, eat hot dogs.
That's literally
pass
what
out cards. Do you pass out business cards?
I don't have business cards.
Yeah. What the fuck's a business card?
So
we're in a different age.
Here's the thing. No, I just am super.
Here's the thing. Please tell me. Please tell me.
I'm not good at owning a business at all. Like, I just want to paint, and like I have to do it to be able to do this for a living. But I'm not good at it at all. I suck at the business part of things. I suck at like
you should do the. This sounds like a sponsorship, but it is a sponsorship. So fuck it. I just signed up for Popl.
Okay.
It's POPL.
Okay.
And all it is it's a sticker you just put on the back of your phone. And anytime somebody wants your contact, you just say, like, just put on top.
Oh, I've heard of stuff like that.
And it puts your website. And if you use promo code RideBoundless, you will get $5 off. Terms and conditions apply.
Right, really took it fast. That was smooth. I like it. I dig it. It was perfect.
Well, wait. Wait.
Yeah,
right? So, haha. Yeah, studio audience, motherfuckers.
Right, we're not fancy.
But yeah, I just signed that up, and it's true. Use Ride Boundless, you get $5 off. It's like $25, so you get it for $20.
Well, that would be more efficient for me, because, like I said, I'm not good at any of that. I'm not good at, like I said, my business is Instagram based. So like, obviously I'm not.
You put your Instagram.
And that's what people, they're like, you're not professional. I'm like, nobody ever claimed me to be professional. I am not a professional person.
No.
Like,
there's people that are professional that you'll hire them, but 100%. You fucking paint.
Yeah,
leave
exactly.
me the fuck alone.
So as far as my business cards things, I had them at one point. I don't have them anymore. I ran out, and then I just have been super lazy on ordering new ones.
Business cards suck,
and here's the
man.
thing. So I've always have this thing that I'm going to use my weaknesses as strengths, right? So my weakness is super bad at owning a business. But here's the thing about this is, so somebody could be like, hey, do you have a business card? I'll be like, no, but take my number down in your phone, save it right now. Now my number is already in your phone. You don't got to find your business card that you probably lost anyway.
Right.
And then you can just call me up and be like, hey, I want some paint.
Yeah.
You gave me your number at Born Free.
Strike my shit.
Yeah. I'm like, let's go. Yeah. I'm ready.
That's fucking awesome.
So
that's the way to fucking do it.
That's just kind of how I do it anyway. Then, I don't know.
Yeah.
People get on me that I need to order business cards, but we'll get there.
No. Fuck business cards. It's an extra responsibility that you have to take with you to an event. And it's like, did I bring my fucking cards? And then you go to the event and you're like, oh my God, I didn't bring my fucking card. Yeah. You're like, fuck, man, I didn't bring my fucking card.
Now, there are some
and then
people
somebody's
that
like, can I contact you? And you're like, I didn't bring my fucking cards. I'm sorry, you can't. Fuck you.
Right.
And I'm like, what? Like, it's like,
but there are some people that like, they look at me, they're like, you don't have business cards. And I'm like, no, I don't have business cards. Like, I'm too busy. Like, I don't have business cards. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Like, go find a painter that does. No, I'm telling you
that thing is pretty fucking cool. I just ordered mine. I'm going to use it.
Yeah, no, it sounds really convenient.
Literally, you put your Instagram or website.
Yeah.
You don't have a website, huh? Fuck no, that's too professional.
I used to. See, that's what I mean. At one point, I tried to be like all legit about it, but it wasn't
too much
fun.
work.
Yeah.
Too much work.
It's just.
Do you want me to paint or build a website?
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, do you want me to paint or like be a business person? I can't do both. Yeah. And I do need to, like, I'm getting to the point that I do need to like hire somebody to handle all that shit for me, because.
But that would be a cool business card with some pinstriping on the back of it, like some fucking your signature.
I've come up with some designs on it. I've designed some T-shirts and stuff too, and like fuck business cards, exactly. Fuck T-shirts, fuck all of it. Yeah, exactly. Like, fuck all that shit. Cool, I'm just like, not doing it. I have painters that have like whole merch lines, and they're like, when are you coming out with it? I'm like, fucking never. Like, why? No.
So
get something painted by me then.
So right now, like, a bunch of listeners are listening and they're like, oh fuck, I want work from you. Like, the easiest thing would be Instagram.
Yeah, 100%. Instagram. And then anybody who hits me up on Instagram, I'll give my number to, obviously, if you want paint work done. And then you could text me at any point. Texting or messaging, though, is way easy. I will not answer phone calls, especially if I don't answer.
Oh, phone calls suck.
I hate talking on the phone. I won't, 90% of the time, I probably won't remember what we were talking about anyway. So texting is just way easier because then like during the paint job, I can go back and be like, okay, they wanted green, blue, and like what was the last color? Yeah, right. Then I just go back to
something else.
Because, I don't do invoices and work orders because,
do you do the voice thing? Like, hey, so when you get a chance, call me up and then send.
Nope. I don't even do I
hate that. Like, no, I hate that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I don't.
And then they respond and it's like, what? Like,
yeah, no.
This is a phone call. Like, no, with a big pause.
You're lucky. Like,
you're forcing me to listen to you. Like,
yeah, I don't.
No. I detest them.
Yeah,
I detest them.
I detest them.
When somebody sends me a voice audio, I don't listen to them. Like,
I don't
delete.
I don't listen to them, man. I'm just like text me. I tell everybody, I'm like, text me. I will get back to you. I have like a notification on my little phone app thing that's like 42 voicemails that I just haven't listened to because I'm like, I don't know. I want to hear people. Like, it's it's another weakness of mine. It's like paralyzing. There are certain things in this industry that just like are so demotivating to me, and talking on the phone is one of them. Like,
yeah, and people's tone of voice, it's like, oh,
right.
Fuck,
and then like,
dude, you're so negative.
I don't know what it is about custom paint, but they want to tell me their life story of like everything. Like, oh yeah, I like. I'm just like, I don't. Just what do you want on your
red?
bike?
My grandma had this red. And on her sheets, and before she died, she said, if you paint your motorcycle, it has to be this picture.
There are some times that are like that, and I'm just like, I get it, but I am not your therapist. Like, what do you want on your bike? Let's go. And then that's what I tell people too. I'm like, I have however many jobs I have, whatever, but the more time that I spend updating every single one of you and talking to every single one of you and doing whatever else is less time that I actually have working on your bike. I could sit here on the phone and talk on the phone all damn day, updating people and like keeping people on track. But I'm like, I got to go paint your shit. Like, I can't talk on the phone to be in the booth at the same time. So do you want your shit done or do you want me to talk to you? I don't know. I don't know which one you want. So
you should have like a contract. Look, by signing this contract, you are allowing me to paint your fucking bike. You will not contact me during the painting of your bike. You can't even speak to me until you pay me and the work is done. Yeah. I'll talk to you in 3 months.
I'll talk to you in 3 months. That's what I do need.
How long does a paint job usually take? On a dyno.
It's so different. So there are times that I can paint a bike if I'm really feeling it and I'm motivated and I'm doing everything great and like my life is on track. I can get a paint job done in 2 weeks. There are times that my life completely flips upside down and I just can't. There was actually a period of time recently that I quit painting for like 2 months just because there's so much.
Like 3 Jews are waiting for their bike. Like, I quit.
I was just like, I felt so bad, but I was like, look, I am going through such major shit in my life, like my personal life. And like, that's the thing about having your whole life be revolving around the same thing is like when some shit falls apart, there's no escape at this point. Like, it's not like, oh, I can just go to work and forget about it. Like, work is my life and like my career is my life. So when my life's falling apart, my career is falling apart. Like, so it's so
because it's such an emotional
100%. And like, I've had people, they're like, you put too much emotion into this, all this other stuff. And I'm like, but this emotion is what makes me even want to be a good painter and even want to be like, and I don't even want to say one of the best because I'm not in a competition with any of these other painters. I want to be the best of myself. Like, I want to be the best painter that I can be. And like, that's what my passion drives at. Because if I didn't have the passion for it, if I didn't love this, like, then what do I care if you like your job or not, or if that's good or not? There's plenty of jobs out there that the customer is loved. Like, I just did one recently. The customer is absolutely in love with it, but I hate it. And I'm like, I don't even want to charge you for this. Like, you might love it, but like, this is not. But
I'm gonna. The response to me is like, that's fucking hilarious. But
yeah,
I see what you mean. That like it truly doesn't represent
100%.
And you're not satisfied with it.
It's so, and like, that's where like when it comes to making money at this, it's tough because there are some jobs that I have to cut myself off. That I'm like, you are going to run yourself into the ground broke trying to do this. If you just listen to the customer that they like it, like, like they love it, it. Like, that's just as simple as it is.
Has the opposite ever happened where you've done something you were so fucking proud of and somebody's like, ew, that's gross?
That actually, that happens a lot. Like, there are certain jobs that like, I think like little job, like I'll do little panels here and there and sell that. Like, there are certain panels that I do that I hate that people are like, oh my God, I want to buy it, whatever. Then I'll do a panel that I'm in love with, dude. And it just won't sell. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? I'm like, this one is way better than like anything I've ever done. And like, you guys don't like it, but there has been a lot of times that I'm like, yeah, I love this job. And then somebody's like, nah. And I'm like, well, screw you. Cause I love it. So
I do that. Cause I like edit a lot of videos.
Yeah.
and there's some edits that are so fucking gangster.
Yeah.
They're fucking gangster. I'm like, dude, 10,000 views, 5. And I'm like,
right.
And then there's one of like my shoe and I fart.
Yeah.
It's like a billion views. It's like, wait, what? Are you fucking kidding
Yeah.
me? Look at the beat and the tone and the sound and look at the image that pops up. Like the one that I was telling you about, the artist I had on, the counterfeiter.
Yeah.
I did such a cool thing where it's like Pink Floyd, the money sound.
Yeah.
You know, fucking creator, con art, like whatever. And it was so cool. It's like whatever, like 200 views.
I feel that.
It's like fucking,
I did a reel that I was just like, I do reels all the time with me, pinstriping, painting, whatever, like time lapses, all this other cool stuff. Like it's cool and everything, like with the like cool music and everything. And then I did a reel of just me taping off a tank and it's going viral. And I'm like, I'm not even doing anything cool in this process. Like I'm literally just taping off a tank. Like I don't know what it is, but that's just how it works sometimes. But I also, it takes me so much to love what I like, love something of mine. Like to this day, there has not been anything that I have put out that I'm like, that is 100% the best I can do. Like there is always something about it. And like, that's why like people think there's plenty of artists that I don't get along with because they think that constructive criticism or tough love is the way to go with me. And like, that might be for a lot of artists, but you cannot be that way with me because I am already so hard on my own work. And like, I don't think people necessarily realize that. I don't know if I just portray myself differently, but like, I can guarantee you that there is no person that is harder on what I do than me. And like, there's plenty of my friends that get on my ass about it. And they're like, you're way better of a painter than what you give yourself credit for. But at the same time, like there's nothing that like, I've been proud of stuff that I've done. I've impressed myself with certain stuff that I've done, but there's nothing that like, and like I've sat back from jobs and I'm like, man, I've painted that. That's really cool. Like I did that, like from start to finish. That's awesome. But I have not done anything yet that I've been like, holy fuck, like, shit, Shayna, you did that. Like that was all you 100%. And like, that's the feeling that I'm like solely truly after. So that when I do like something or when I do even like remotely get close to loving something, even if somebody doesn't like it, I'm like, I don't really care. Cause it took me so long and so much to like this that like, you're wrong. So like, I like it and that's it.
It almost sounds like there will be a point in your life that you'll create something so magnificent that you'll be like, I'm done.
I hope.
And then she never picked up the brush.
Well, see, and that's like one of my like I get really discouraged about it a lot. And one of my artists was like, you don't want to get to that point though. He's like, what happens when you get to your best? He said, there's nothing after that. There's no improving after that. He said, every job you have like a motivator to get to your next job. He said, what happens when that happens? You can't get any better. He's like, and now that all these people are expecting you to do something more grand than that. So you're going to have to figure it out. So you're never going to be at like your truest potential. Somebody told me one time when I first started, and they said, you shouldn't sell your art yet because you're not like at your full potential. And I was like, well, at this point I said, I'll never be. I'm always like, every day I learn something new. Every day there's
whoever said that was dumb.
Right?
Don't sell your
100%.
artwork yet. Like, well, you're stupid.
So like, I learned, like, there's a guy at the shop that I work at now that every single time I talk to him, I learn something new. And it's not even about paint. Like, we're not even talking about paint. We were talking about Chevelles the other day. We were talking about Ferraris and like, I learned something and I'm like, what? Like, so like, I'll always be evolving. So like a part of me gets like discouraged about that. Cause I'm like, fuck, I'm never going to like it. But then a part of me like uses that as like a motivator. Yeah. It's like cool.
It's
like
fucking
what you
exciting.
can do. To think that your potential is endless, to think that you don't have like, not necessarily a goal to hit, but like you don't have a ceiling. Like you're not confined in this cage. Like you have the sky's not even the limit. Like you can do absolutely anything. And that's even the coolest part that I love about paint is like, there's so many different effects and so much different like techniques and stuff that you can do to make it what it is and to make it look like certain things and to make it look 3D and to make it look like it's like holographic and all this other stuff that there is absolutely no limit on what you can make a bike look like.
Yeah, it's very unlimited. I went skydiving a few years back, and I liked the sign they had, and it's like the sky's not the limit; it's unlimited. The ground is.
Yep.
Oh,
there we go. Right, plot twist, perspective twist, right
so
there.
You just,
100%. That's exactly what it is, though.
Yeah, it's unlimited. Sky's the limit.
Yep.
We passed that.
Yeah,
a long time ago, guys.
right. A long time ago, we passed that. But
Elon Musk, yeah,
right.
But there's so much. What's the most exciting thing right now in what's available in painting right now. Like, you know, the gold flaking's fucking been around forever, and it's super badass.
Oh, that's a good one.
Platinum, like what new paints, what new technology, glow in the dark, like what's going on?
So there is actually a light up paint. It's called Lumalore, and it's
Sounds like a
it's
monster
wild.
from Star Wars.
It's
Lunalore.
like this electroluminescent paint or something. Okay, so I'm the wrong person to talk about this.
No, it's cool.
So, but
you know more than I do about it.
if you call Dave Monning at Coast Airbrush, he can tell you all about this, and they sell Lumalore there, I think. Well, I don't know. Pretty sure they do. But it's this like, it's like this. So I don't even know how to explain it, man. So it's like literally you can paint this, and you can make it, it's this paint that lights up, and you can make it light up in intervals. You can make it light up in a sequential thing. Like you can do so much with it. It comes in different colors. Like there's a set series of like 10 colors. And then you can like layer paint over top of it. And so it's only like certain parts of the paint job are lighting up, and like you can make it just like,
how does it light up? It's like super reflective.
No. So it's actually, I'm going to do the best I can with this, but this might be completely wrong. So go take the class if you're actually interested in this, which there is a Lumalore class about it. So you spray down like this like copper base from my understanding. And then that can like, it's actually wired into like a little battery, and you turn on the battery on and off. And then like it conducts electricity to make it light up. And then, like I said, it can like light up in like sequential stuff, and like
like you use the steel and the copper of the paint, and then we don't fucking know. Yeah,
I think right.
Yeah.
I think there's this like special primer. There's like it's like a whole kit from start to finish.
Don't you just pick up the seat of your motorcycle and plug it in?
Right, like that's just so it's just. I mean, I need to take the class on it really bad, but it's so like because
that sounds exciting.
Wiring and electrical stuff like is so it just instantly shuts my brain off. Like I just can't understand it, even like on bikes or anything.
Would you say it's shocking?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was a good one. Easy. That was a good one though.
My timing's off.
It's fine. It works out. Yeah. But yeah, so I do like the class has just been intimidating me on it, but it's really cool what they can do with it. They paint crazy stuff over there with it. They've done a Jeep that has gone to SEMA with it and stuff. So if you like Google Lumalore, there's crazy stuff that comes up in all different cars and stuff.
I gotta check that out. Did you ever fuck around with that that paint that's like the blackest black of the black?
No, but I've seen it where
you paint looks like a fucking dark hole or some shit.
No, but I want to because I like it.
That shit looks dope, right?
Yeah, black is. I love it. I love black.
But they say it's like the darkest of the dark. I guess nothing can reflect off it. Like it's so dark.
I'm intrigued by it.
And that's.
But I heard it's very expensive for like a little pint of it or something.
Well, I'm sure, yeah.
It's like ordered. It's not even. I don't even know. But that's. I don't know. That's just really cool. Yeah. That's the cool part about paint is like there's just so much to do with it because I mean you have your base coats, but then you have your metallic base coats, and you have your pearls and marbleizers and just all these different and flakes and just all these different effects that you can do. And people are even like using resin in their jobs where they're like putting actual like they're carving out tanks and putting actual like objects and stuff in them
inside of it. Yeah,
and like doing crazy stuff like that.
Poison
like,
scorpions.
Yeah, all of that crazy stuff. And it's just limitless of what you can do with it. There's even, I know like Ryan Evans over at Counts Customs in Vegas, he's done actual 3D paint jobs where you can go and touch it and it is 100% 3D. Like you can actually feel different shapes and designs on it. And
that must consist of so many layers.
Oh yeah. So many layers of paint. And you actually start from whereas usually you would prime something and then base it and start designing it from there. You actually start, designing it with the primer then. And then you just kind of build it up from there. From my understanding anyway, I haven't done anything like that. But yeah, just like the effects of it are absolutely limitless. So
yeah, it's interesting how far it's come and the technique.
It's wild to me to even think about though when painting first, like old school painters, you think of even back in like the lacquer painting days, like shit that they were doing with that is astounding. Like back like when we didn't have the technology that we would do today, we didn't have all these like it almost, some of those products from back in the day are almost better because they're like more like they didn't have all the laws. They didn't have like all like you can't have this toxic chemical. Like,
yeah, did you run into people like old timers that are like, back in my days, you would open 100%. Up a paint can, you would die. My friend Steve died. It was right? so toxic, but it was the best gold color.
Yeah, and then there's people that are like, man, you can't spray without a mask, like all of that stuff, which definitely don't. I'm not condoning anything. But then there's like these old school painters that were like, I sprayed lacquer without one and I'm perfectly fine. And then there's some that are like, I lost my hand to it. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, all right, guys, like it's
I lost
fine.
My whole family to painting with lead paint. Like what?
Literally. There's actually, I was just talking about this yesterday with a friend that there's a lot of, most painters that I know when they get up in their older ages that they have a lot of health problems just because we're around, even today. There, as much as it's been regulated and everything, there's still so much toxic chemicals in everything that we do, and we're around every day. And as much as we can take precautions against it, it's a risk that we take to give you guys an amazing bike. So
yeah, but no, 100% appreciate your risk, and I'm not going to justify or say anything.
Don't be like it's like I'm risking my life for this. Not at all. Like
no. I was just going to say a statement that I read an article recently that they did they found. Amounts of plastic, microplastic in human blood.
Yeah. You know, see, and that's the thing, like everything can kill you these days.
Right.
So it's just.
Yeah. My grandfather always told me the only requirement to die is to be alive.
That's very true.
You know, because how many times do you hear about the non-smoker,
Olympic
runner, raised her family perfect, dies of lung cancer?
Yep, 100%. And then you see the smoker that has been smoking for 50 plus years and untouched. Yeah. So
eating bacon and fucking
I always said, I'm like,
Coke
if I'm meant to die a certain way, I'm going to die that way, no matter if I am ready for it, if I try it, whatever. Like I'm just.
You have to enjoy it. Everything in moderation.
100%. Especially like riding and being a biker, because I mean, we assume that risk every time we get. I mean, you see crazy stuff on the road every day, and every time we get on a bike, we're putting our lives in other people's hands. So, just for the love of it. So,
do you drive and ride? Like, would you say 50-50?
So, yeah, I would say 50-50.
Level,
yeah,
50-50. But when you travel, more bike.
Yeah. So I really try to. It is 50-50 because there are some times that when I travel that I'm taking so much paint and so much airbrush stuff with me that I just...
Yeah, you're working.
Yeah. I figured out a way to take my whole pinstriping kit on my bike. So the whole like cross-country trip I did, I was pinstriping the entire time. And like that's like how I pay for it as I go. So... and it's really cool because like you'll be at a gas station and somebody just thinks it's cool to see bikers across country. So they'll start talking to you. And then they see that you're a pinstriper and I'll be like, yeah, I have all my stuff with me. And they're like, oh, well, I got this car in my shop, let's go paint it. And I'm like, all right, let's go pinstripe it. Like, all right. And then we go to the next city. And that's even I have seen some really cool shops. I have met some really cool people that I never would have met otherwise if it weren't for even just painting alone. Like I did some pinstriping at this place called Arizona Rod Shop in Phoenix one day, and he has some amazing cars in there and just like crazy stuff. And there's just stuff that I never would have seen, stories I never would have heard. If it weren't for that. And that's also, I feel like, where a lot of my inspiration comes from, because I hear all these other stories of people going like just crazy stuff of like what they've been through, what they used to do back in the day. Like I have an uncle of mine who, well, he's not really an uncle, but he's like a family friend of mine who he rode 2 Up down to Daytona Bike Week in like the freaking 50s or something like that. Like it was wild. So
and they had no roads.
Yeah.
And shit.
Yeah. No suspension on these, like just crazy bikes. And like, just stories like that. And it's like, well, if you can do that, then I can do that with this 2012 Sportster, no doubt.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
There ain't no doubt. So.
Yeah, I was watching Easy Rider the other day, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like they had no idea where the fuck they were going.
Right?
Peanut tanks.
Right, you don't have a GPS on your phone. You didn't have like any of that.
And you had neighborhoods that were fucking races.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, 100%. And that's just like, if y'all can do that, then we can definitely do that. Like we definitely
with
do what
cell
we're doing.
phones and
yeah,
Instagram.
Right. And that's the other thing. Like anywhere that I break down or anything, like you have the world in your hands. Like I can Google something. I can Google where I'm at, any of that. So I don't know. We have it lucky compared to the old school times, but I still wish I grew up in that time.
Yeah. Joe Rogan says it a lot. He says, this is the greatest time in the existence of humans to be alive. Like the amount of shit. Well, yes, I do. Because if you look at, forget technology, like cell phones, wow, computer, wow, screens, like all that stuff, wow, okay, that we know. But if you just look at medicine, You look at just medicine in the last 20 years, it's like, wow. If you look at medicine in the last 100 years, I mean.
That's very true, too. Even life, like just life expectancy and stuff like that.
You know, stuff like that.
That is wild.
If you look at like food 50 years ago and now, you know, now it's better. You know, like in the 90s, it was, you know, McDonald's and, you know, are you lactose intolerant? Who cares?
That's
drink milk.
True. Yeah. That's
drink milk.
Yeah, right? Like you'll grow out of it, right?
Grow out of it. It's okay. Give it more milk, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember those times, but
I do.
Like, and I met people, they were like, I was lactose intolerant. I fucking like.
Yeah, my cousin was, and we didn't do anything. Like she just
keep drinking it.
Yeah,
stop being a bitch.
Yeah, literally. Like
what? And now it's like
that's very true.
You know,
that's
so we are more informed.
Yeah.
You would think, I don't know who said it, but somebody says that the problem with mankind is they didn't have enough information, you know, and once people had enough information, they would make smarter choices. But then now everybody has access to unlimited information.
Yeah.
There's a fucking more stupider people than ever.
Yeah. But it's weird how that works.
Yeah, there is something that needs to be corrected. But like I said, if you just look at medicine.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
You know, like how they're curing stuff, how they're fixing stuff, how they're keeping people living longer. It's a beautiful shit when, you know, fucking there's a fire, the technology of, you know, before a house would burn down because fucking they couldn't build it right and instantly. So yeah, I do think it's one of the greatest times to ever be alive.
I can definitely see that.
We're just aware of like, oh shit, there's still starving people around the world. We need to help them, you know. But like, that was there before.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. That's one thing about it is like that we talk about sometimes is that all these problems were always there. We just know about them then because we have that ability. Like we can see what's going on in other countries, whereas before we didn't have TV crews over there. We didn't have technology. We didn't have the internet that I can call somebody up in a different continent right now.
Transportation. Just transportation, you know, like little things like that. Suspension.
Yeah, right.
Wow. The tire. Woo. Like just dumb shit that we're like, oh, it's okay now. I don't know. I think it was better back then. No, it wasn't. Like people were fucking killing themselves of no entertainment. No, like nothing. Well, I guess people are killing themselves now. Actually, you know what?
I did not mean to laugh at that, but just...
Hey. It's ridiculous. Actually, but you know what? I did bring this up a few podcasts ago. Being raised now, you're young. How is it? How was it growing up with social media, and how did it affect you? Because the bullying I'm talking about, the people talking shit.
I'm glad that this touches back to my whole like high school thing. So
because we talked about your depression.
Yeah, 100%. Like, so one thing about my parents is they did really a good job if they kept me back in time. Like, because both my sisters are not significantly older than me. Like I was not planned. They're not significantly older than me, but not at all. Like my middle sister is 4 years older than my other sister is 6 years older. So those two are very close. Then there's me. But
what's the age gap of you? Because they're 4, 6.
What do you mean?
Well, they're 4 years apart.
Oh no, I'm 4 years with Tanya. So Samantha's the oldest. She's 2 years older than Tanya, and then Tanya's 4 years older than me.
Got it. So 6 total. Got it from the oldest.
So she my mom did a really good job with just kind of keeping me, like she all raised us the same. Like I didn't get, regardless that I grew up kind of in a different time. Like I was at that kind of turn of the century. So like, like all my friends were just getting like this cool cell phones and stuff like that. Like they were still bricks and stuff, but
Snake.
Yep. All of that stuff. And then like, when the Razor phone came out and stuff, that was, right. That was my kind of time. But my mom did a very good job. I was never a trendy person. I was never up with like the cool kids. Like I got all the hand-me-downs from my sisters. So, I kind of didn't grow up in necessarily the same age and era that people my age did. And, I did grow up though, like when MySpace was out and all that stuff. And then Facebook was just coming out like when I was graduating. Well, no, I guess it was coming out like when I was...
I want to say 2003 or something.
So Facebook, when it first came out, it was for like college students only or something.
Right.
Because I remember my sister was in college in 2007,
and she had the Facebook.
Yeah, it was because you had to have a college email. She was telling me about to get it in, like to get one, and then I don't think I even got a Facebook until I was like in high school. But MySpace was a huge thing and stuff. But I dealt with a lot of bullying in middle and high school specifically, and a lot of it was just, I mean, obviously really petty stuff. So I was a cheerleader. And like my mom, whatever we did 100%. Like we put, like, that's what we did. I tried track and field one time and I like quit a week into it, and I never heard the end of it. Cause like my mom's like, you don't quit something. Like once you commit to it, like you're in it full and force. So, so I was a cheerleader. She put me in all these different, like, just tumbling courses and all this other stuff. And both my sisters were cheerleaders. Like it was a family type of thing. Like I grew up doing it. So I made varsity cheerleading as a freshman in high school, and it caused a lot of problems for me. A lot of people, like, I assume that's what it was. I don't really know. Everyone just kind of hated me. I don't know why, but I got posted about a lot. I got jumped in school a few times. Like that that was pretty fun. Good old little Hicktown, Pennsylvania. Yeah. So,
but it was real. Like you physically
100%. Like it was like,
I'm kind of, I don't want to joke about it, but it's like, how did that work out? You were like walking down.
Dude, literally, I
like, what's up,
so
bitch?
I was like, no, 100%. But I was like walking down the school and like people would say that I said things. So like I was not a partier. I never got drunk before I was 20. One time. I got drunk one time before I was 21. I never was allowed, like my parents, I don't know if they knew I was a wild child before I even did anything, but they were strict from the start. So I never got in trouble for them to be strict. Like, so I always had a curfew. So I was like these people are saying that I got drunk with all these people. I'm like, I don't know. I never said any of this stuff because I don't party. I don't do anything. I'm never at a party because I'm never allowed to go anywhere. I'm not allowed to sleep over anywhere. Like I'm not allowed to do any of this. So it didn't make, like, there was just a bunch of stuff that didn't make sense to me. I was walking down the hallway one day and one of these girls come up to me and she's like, you're talking shit. And I was like, I'm not, dude. And it's like this whole group of them. And like, they just all fucking had at it. And I was like, I did not say or do any of this. And then like, I would go to the kind of like guidance counselor, and like they would be like, well, it's just like high school or whatever. Then I would get bullied even more because I went and tried to get help with the guidance counselor. And then like I would tell teachers, then I would tell teachers that this is going on. And then like they're just like, oh, well, it's just girls being girls. But I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like this is brutal. And it wasn't until like they would somebody put jelly in my hair one day. Like there was jelly? like peanut butter and jelly. Like it was just
like
wild.
Jam?
Yeah, at lunch. Like yes, that was fun. There was just a bunch of crazy stuff. And then it wasn't until one day I called my mom from the bathroom like bawling, and I said, Mom, I can't do this anymore. I was like, I literally cannot do it. And so then she came and picked me up from school, and she actually had at it with the school too, because I went to multiple teachers about it. I went to the principal about it. I went to everything. And then there was one time that somebody came after me that I actually like defended myself, and like I threw a chair at him. I can't believe I'm telling this story again. I didn't think I'd ever relive this, but
I'm sorry. You're fine.
It's just people people don't know. Like it's just wild. So, she came at me at the cafeteria one time, and she was like, "You can't." I was sitting down eating my lunch, minding my own business, and she's like, "You can't sit here." And I was like, "Yo, dude, I just got sick of it." I was like, "I'll sit wherever the fuck I want," and she threw some food at me. So I stood up and I picked up my chair and I threw it across the table at her, and I got suspended for that. And so my mom,
like, this is like movie shit.
Yeah, right. No. So my mom joked, she's like, your life could be a reality show. I said, the shittiest part about that statement, Mom, I said, is reality shows are scripted. I said, this is just my fucking life. I said, I don't.
Right.
And like, it's irritating because I'm a very strong believer in karma. So I try nothing but to put good out in the world. Like that's all I try to do and stuff. And, so then, I was in the principal's office waiting, and then my dad actually came and picked me up that time. And my dad had a few choice words to say with the school, which I will say that high school, like I said, it's a very small town. It's a very racist town. So they're very stuck in like old times, like
even today, like there's just a lot of stuff that is so like even. Because like I said, since it is such a small town, people are born and raised and they live their lives there. And it wasn't until I moved to Texas and I started traveling this country that I realized that is like that's not normal.
That's not normal at all. And so I had a lot to relearn like when I moved away from it and stuff. And so like just the school itself didn't necessarily do anything. There was one or two teachers that would always like be there or whatever, but the school itself was just like, whatever, like you'll get through it, is what it is, like don't even worry about it. And so that's when I kind of made the decision to do, like we looked into cyber school and all of that. So then my senior year, I actually did cyber school and I did a dual enrollment. I took college classes at the local community college at the same time. And then, which didn't amount to anything because I didn't use it. It was like an English class that I took, and then I ended up going to school for cars. So I don't know why, but so I have like those college credits for no reason. But so I did that, and then I just did cyber school my senior year, and then I just went to college, and it definitely, the whole process of it fucked me up for sure, because like I never have trusted anybody, even with like friends, because like these are all people who are supposed to be your friends. And like I said, since it's such a small school, like one person can get everyone to hate you. So like I didn't fit in well. Even now, people like some of my hometown friends are friends with me on Facebook and stuff and Instagram. And they see like the tattoos and the piercings that I get, and they lose their minds about it. Yeah. And like, it's just a very small-minded mentality there. And well,
obviously they got nothing 100%. Else going on in life than to be like, oh my God.
And like it just it affected me as far as like, even when I came out here, like just California is an entire different world. It's like a whole new world. And like even like I never was interested. Play the Alada. Right. I never had interest in even having friends after that. Like after high school, any of that. Like I never made an effort to be social or any of that. Like just because like I'm like, why would I? Like why would I do that and like have all this shit happen again? Because I didn't do anything the first time. It gets to a point in my life that I'm like, I wish I did something to deserve all this, because like shit, dude. Like I'm just trying to like put good out in the world, and that's it. And like. So after that, it affected everything that I did, and I was a loner for a really long time. I still kind of am. Like, I still like, I don't know, like once I got divorced and I was on my own, I broke out of my shell a little bit, but then I like the past year, I went through some shit again of just life that like, cause then I got divorced and I'm like, that's the worst of it. I went through the worst of life. You know what I mean? I was married young, divorced young, all of it, you know, at the time though, like you're just like, that's the
story you tell yourself.
Right. You're like, that's it. And then like, it's like, life's like, haha, you think that you were going to wish that you were going through a divorce again for this. Like, so, and then the past year happened again. And like,
it sounds like a smooth divorce.
Yeah, it was. It really was. Like there was no battles. There was no court. It was all private. Like it was very smooth. So like, it just, that was just also breaking out of that small town mentality though, because that's what people do. You marry your high school sweetheart and you have kids by 21 and you live on this happy life. And that's what everyone was doing. And like, that's what I was on track to do. But I was like, this isn't what I want. I don't want kids. I don't want I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't want to babysit your freaking kids. Like I want to go out and live my life, and I want to do crazy stuff, and I want to do these crazy adventures, and
I want to pinstripe the world.
100%. So
ride,
and that's when I like realized that like that's not what I wanted, and I just kind of steered differently. And then it all made sense of why I never really fit in there at all, and like why I never was kind of part of the in crowd of that town at all. And I still am not. Like it's funny because I'll go back and people say it's so cool what you do and it's so awesome, and like they'll say like, oh yeah, we were friends in high school, and I'm like, no, we weren't. You jumped me in fucking the Hall C. You remember that? Like, and there actually has been one girl reached out to me a couple years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, and she messaged me and she was like, I just want to apologize. She's like, I put you through some serious shit in high school, and she's like, you didn't deserve any of that. And I was like, regardless that this is almost 10 years later, I was like, thank you for saying that. I said, because I didn't realize I was holding on to a lot of the shit that like you would do and say. Cause like people don't realize that like when you do go through something traumatic like that, regardless that you don't realize that you carry it with you, there was like just certain mentalities and certain things that I would do in my current friendships that just were because of that, because I'd be afraid of like that happening again without even realizing it until like she apologized, and I'm like, fuck, like I didn't realize I was carrying that. Like it sounds dumb because it's something dumb. It's like, oh, this bitch like said something about me in high school, but like you don't realize how long you're carrying that with you until like
it affects people.
Yeah, 100. Especially when it's something like they weren't just saying like this girl was like, they weren't just name calling. Like it was full on like
full on insults. Yeah, full on
insults, and rumors and stories that were like never even true. And like I'm even stealing. Like there's certain times that I deal with that now. Like there's there was been a hate page made about me on Instagram, and it's just like high school. And I even said that. I said, I thought I was done dealing with this stuff in high school. Like, it's wild to me. And like, it's just stuff that I feel like there's always going to be people like that. And that's like the shittiest part about it. And what breaks my heart about it is if those people put the same amount of effort into what makes them happy, they'd be in the same position I am. Like, they'd be loving their life just as much as I do. But you're too busy putting all your effort into trying to hate somebody else that you don't have the space to make your life what you want it to be.
And this is why you're stuck, and this is why you don't outgrow it.
And then I'm just a bad person though for saying that. Because
no, you're not a bad person.
In their perspective,
because you know their situation. You've grew up in that situation,
100%,
and you were able to escape it and realize, wait a minute, there's a whole fucking world out here.
And that brings us back to like the whole, we all have the same 24 hours, and people will get mad at you for using the 24 hours in a better way. And they're especially, it's that whole quote that strangers will clap for you louder than the people that you know, and it's because the people that you know came from the same spot, and they're still in the same spot, and they're just mad because they can see that it can be done, but they don't want to do the work to get there.
Yeah. So yeah, I just saw one today, and it was like, what should it say? It said it's easier to create a stranger into a fan, or I'm sorry, it's easier to create a stranger into a friend than a friend into a fan, or something like that.
That's like, probably very true.
You know,
I'd have no doubt about that.
No,
and like, don't get me wrong, I haven't been like pure my whole, like I had definitely like have fucked up, and I've like there's people out there that will through and through tell you that I fucked them over, but I can honestly sit here soul-heartedly and say that I did in every single situation that I have ever been in my life. I have done my absolute best with consideration of my own feelings and consideration of other people. I was never in a situation where I'm just like fuck everybody else and it's only me. Like, so just because of that, like, that's like, I sleep well at night. Like, I know that my intentions are good every single time that I try to go in there, regardless that it doesn't always turn out that way for whatever situation. Like, there's another one that I saw recently was like, you could lose your phone and somebody out there is going to say that they were ignoring your call or that you were ignoring their call. It's just a different perspective. Like, but you're over there looking for your phone for 24 hours, but they're over there saying that you're ignoring their call. Yeah. So it's just, like I said, I have found peace and happiness within myself, knowing that I have done my absolute best in the best way in every situation that I have come across in my life. And that's just how I keep living, I guess.
No, you have to live like that. But I saw a post, and it's like, it's bullshit if you text somebody and they don't respond. That's bullshit because they're on their phone 24/7 looking at social media, and that's fucked up. And I'm like, dude, first of all, time out. like every person riding a motorcycle cannot fucking answer their phone.
No, okay? 100%.
There's people with children. They give their phone to their children. Mm-hmm. They don't have their fucking phone.
Or sometimes I'm just tired of talking to people. I got to talk to people all day, every day about their bikes, about their paintwork, about everything. Sometimes I just don't want to talk to somebody.
I'm not even fucking around. I hit this focus thing.
I just got that. Yeah. I just updated my phone and I got that.
I go to the gym, fitness. Right now I'm doing podcasts. I was going to change this to podcast, but right now I hit the work. Like, there's so many. I do a fucking podcast. I talk to people for 2-3 hours. Yep. You didn't answer my fucking comment. You're a fucking dick. You know, you're selfish. Like, what?
Yep. Or like customers will get mad at me because like I'll be in the shop for however long, and
you're
then like
painting,
100%, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like, especially because like I'll get on my like Instagram between flash times, but I'm in the booth. Even if I answered your phone call, I can't hear what the hell you're saying anyway. So like I'm gonna chill on my phone for a second. When I get a chance, I'll call you back. Like,
simple.
That's one thing though that I do disagree with about the whole social media thing is it has definitely made people think that they have access to you all the time.
Yeah, 24/7.
I have customers that are texting me at like 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night, and they expect a response. And I'm like, if this were a shop that had hours, you would not be doing this. If I had a 9 to 5, you would only be calling me in the hours of 9 to 5. And if you weren't, you would be leaving a voicemail, and I'd be calling you back at 9:30 the next morning. So
you might want to consider getting a Google Voice number.
Right? I should. There's so much that I
because it's just an app now. You know, you download the app. It's all your messages go there. You log in whenever you want to log in. You get the notification.
Probably what I should do.
And if there's a number you want to block, you just block it. Very easy to do. You have full control, and it's going to be easier especially as you grow. All it is an extra app, and it's a separate phone number.
Oh, that's nice though. Then you can just keep everything separate.
Yeah, because I had my personal information, my phone number and stuff, and it was like 2 times where I was getting calls at weird hours. I was like, what the fuck?
That's the thing about it. Yeah.
You know, and it only takes that one asshole or
right
to fuck it up for everybody.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I'm gonna leave my helmet on my bike, and it's like it's that one fucking asshole that's gonna go and like fart in it and throw it behind a tree, and now I have to buy a new helmet. Like what the fuck, dude?
That's it only takes one person, but it's been a wild ride here for sure.
Yeah,
I can't complain though. I'm super thankful that I've ended up where I am, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And I used to travel and paint a lot, and then I just this past weekend went and did a job, and I'm finally at it, like living in a place where I don't want to travel from anymore. Like I just want to stay here.
you have a home.
I do. It's wild. I've been searching for it for a long time. I even texted my roommate when I was away at this job, and I texted her, I was like, I'm homesick. And she said, for Pennsylvania? I said, no, for Oceanside. And she was like, that's weird. I was like, I know. She's like, that's weird for you. And I was like, I know it is. Like, this is somebody who, like, I go on the road for months at a time. I don't get homesick. Like,
have you met Lucky Dave?
No, I haven't yet.
He's right there.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's like, I think he's like right by there, like the industrial section by Ocean.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to.
Yeah, just search up a shop. Lucky Dave.
We have a lot of mutual friends. Like, he's good friends with a lot of people who I'm good friends with. So we haven't crossed paths quite yet, but I'm sure.
I promise you, you're only like 15 minutes away.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll cross paths soon.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Well, we covered a bunch of shit.
We did cover. I mean, you covered my whole life pretty much.
Your whole life.
The deep, dark secrets of my whole life, too.
No, that's good. Thank you for sharing.
No, of course. Thanks for having me up here.
I don't know. Any word of advice of writing, painting, career, paths, beliefs that you'd want to share with people in the world?
I mean, just do it, and to just do it the best way that you possibly can. I mean, I feel like people overthink everything. I feel like people have to have a reason for something. They have to have a justification, like a validation. They have to have something. Like the way that I live my life, and I think it's the best way to live. And I get that not everybody can live life the same exact way, but as far as like, if what I do inspires you, the way that I live my life is that every day I wake up and I'm like, what do I want to do today? And like, usually I want to paint or ride. And that's pretty much my two things. And I'm like, I have to build a life around that. And that, I solely believe that your passion is in direct correlation, like with your purpose. So I feel like if you find that, then that's the best way to go. So like, just find what you love to do and figure out a way to do it all the fucking time.
And to add to that, you didn't grow up wishing to ride motorcycles and paint. No. It just came to you. Like you were kind of lost in a sense of like, 100%. I don't want to pay rent and I don't want to do this. And it just came to you.
Yep.
Right?
100%. And
that's normal.
Yeah. And it's like, see, and that's the thing. And I used to get discouraged about it though. Like, cause there's all these other painters out there that say like, oh yeah, I grew up with my dad in a shop. I was painting cars when I was like 5. I had a paint gun in my hand. Like, and I do get discouraged about that. Cause I'm like, fuck, if I had that fucking extra 10 plus years, like what the fuck could I be doing now? But then I realized like, okay, some people have done that. Yeah. But they don't devote their whole life to it. Like it's just, every situation's different. Everybody's timeline's different. Everyone's timeline is right. That's also, I feel like, what people get caught up in, especially at my current age, like being in your late 20s, early 30s, everyone starts to panic about what your life is and what it quote unquote should be. Like you should have this family, you should have all of this. But I don't necessarily believe that. I feel like we were all meant to live like a complete different life, and like
enjoy it.
Yeah, 100%. And just because that's what you should be doing isn't what it is. And whenever I'm unhappy or whenever I'm like in like a weird funk or a weird situation, because I do get in them 100%. As much as I love my life, I can sit here and say that I love my life, but still be like, because that's where I learned that depression is like an actual like medical thing. Because for a while I was like, it's just my state of mind type of thing. But then I can sit here and love my life and absolutely be obsessed with every single thing about it. And there are certain thoughts that I have that I should not fucking have. So like, whenever I do get in those funks and like, I just sit here and I'm like, what, if I could do anything in the world right now, what it would be? Like if that's go eat at this certain restaurant, if that's fucking fly to Europe, if that's get on my bike and ride up PCH a little bit, if I could do anything in the world right now, what would it be? And then I just go and do that. I figure out a way to make it happen. And that way, if it's fly to Europe and I don't have money to, I'll go do a job to make it happen. And that's just Yeah, there we
Fucking
go. Timing
A.
is impeccable right there. That was beautiful.
Fuck yeah.
So-
Just the Nike thing. Just do it.
Literally,
Just do
that's
it.
all it is. So, for a long
Stop
time,
making the fucking excuses.
100%. For a long time, my whole saying was to say yes and figure out the rest later. Like, so I don't care. Like the whole cross country trip, I was like, "Yep, let's do it. I'll figure out the logistics of it when the time comes." Like, the bottom line is, I want to do it.
Challenge for the listeners this week: say yes to everything.
Right?
I don't know.
Do you know that movie? It's called Yes Man with
Jim Carrey. Yeah,
and he says yes to everything, and his whole life transforms. And like some of it's crazy stuff, but you got a good fucking story. That's for damn sure. So
yeah, I've had this conversation before on the podcast, but it's amazing how there is a system in the U.S. The school system, the parent system, how your mind is like, don't do that. No, you can't go here, you can't go there. We're so fucking like,
yep, you're in a cage.
You're in a cage, and you really see it when foreigners come to this country and they land here with nothing and they start businesses, acting, careers. Like we've heard the stories a million times, and it's like, well. You can do this.
Yep.
You can do that. Why aren't you doing it?
Yep.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yep.
Like, there's money, and you could just apply, and you what? You
Yep.
can get credit and do, and we're like, no, but that's not right. You shouldn't. No.
Yep.
And it's a fucking system controlling
100%.
us and brainwashing us.
There's also the movie Lucy. I love
Lucy.
I take that whole kind of regardless that. There was
I love
drug
Lucy.
use,
I'm
right?
Cuban, and I love.
But regardless that there was like the whole reason that you accessed 100% of your brain or whatever is through that drug or whatever. But I take that same concept kind of the same way. So like if I stayed in that small town and had that small town mentality, then I'm only accessing that 5% of my potential or that 10% of my potential. But if I go out there and I accept and I'm open to everything that this universe has to offer and this world has to offer, then like my potential is limitless, like we were just talking about. So
Landmark has a statement. It's deep, but it's so simple. It's like, you know what you don't know. Okay? I can't fly a plane. I can't do this. I can't do that. There's no way. Like, you know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. But you don't know what you don't know. Like there's a whole fucking thing of things that you don't even know you don't know.
Or like the more you learn, the more you don't know.
Right.
That whole thing like that definitely was very clear to me at first because I was like, damn.
I'm just going to shoot them out there. Two heads are better than one.
Right? You want to keep going? Like shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I got them all day.
It's like a battle.
Right?
My favorite one is the older you get, the better you were.
Yeah. That's true.
Back in my days, I used to walk to school and I'd carry my parents and like what?
Right.
I used to carry my horse to school because he couldn't walk all the time. Right. Like what the fuck?
Uphill both ways.
Anyways, okay, so we'll end it on. Look, we did 2 hours. We'll end it on. Where can we find you? Just also for the listeners, it's on the screen. I'm going to put it on the post. But
just 13th Street or 13th Street Customs. Man, see, I've been in years of saying that. So 13th Street Customs
on Instagram.
Yep, on Instagram.
Are you on Twitter, Facebook?
Nope. So I have a personal Facebook, but business wise, it's just 13th Street Customs on Instagram. So
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
You've been awesome. Thank you for coming.
You've been awesome. This has been super fun. So.
Yeah. No, it's been very fun.
Going to the deep, dark depths of my soul.
Till next time, I will be following up with you.
Awesome.
I would love to have you a few episodes down.
Yeah, for sure. Because I always do crazy new stuff. So I have a project coming up tomorrow, actually, that I'm not talking about yet, but I will talk about it, obviously, once I post it. But that's going to be a super cool one, and I think it's going to be a good turning point to my career. So
I think what I like about the podcast that I've been seeing it, because now it's getting to the point where, like this is episode 71. I'm touching bases with people that I spoke to before, and it's a good little checkup to see.
100%. But it's also cool to see like, again, so I'm coming on this podcast with where I'm at in life and people see that, and that might be an inspiration. But then in a couple months, when you see what I can do with that couple of months, like that's where it comes from. Like, it's
beautiful. Yeah.
And even so, like the girl that was messaging me the other day, she's like, "Yo, it's so cool where you're at and stuff." But she had no idea where I came from, and to know where I came from in just 6 or 7 short years ago, Like that's where I get motivation from other people, because I'm like, if you could do that, because I know that like I had a really good upbringing. Like I didn't have, there's plenty of other people that have a way harder struggle than I did. Like people are looking at me like, oh, this bitch got bullied. Like that's the that's the least of my, yeah, right. So
but
like
they don't know
that, and like it's just like I don't know. It's just, it's about what you do with it, I guess. Like it's just,
you first of all, you just can't compare yourself.
Yeah,
you
that's
can't.
true.
You can't. There's always somebody bigger, stronger, smarter. There's always somebody that went through worse. Like that's not even the point.
100%.
Like, if somebody's like, oh yeah, stop. We're not talking about that. You weren't in that situation. Yeah. You don't know how it affected. You don't know what the mindset is. There's an expression that says, if you were born and raised the same way that person was, you would do exactly the same thing that they do.
That's true.
Because people are like, if that was me, I wouldn't do that. No, motherfucker. You would do the exact same thing.
100%.
That's what they know.
Yep.
So, that's not the point. The point is you went through a struggle. It's a big deal. And across the board, it's a big deal, because now we're seeing more and more people talking about how young girls, one of the reasons I want to talk to you, this is the first time in history where 13, 14-year-old girls are putting themselves out there for thousands of people to judge them.
That's very true. So, I always get, when it comes to the whole female subject, I walk a very fine line, and I'm very just, I don't want to say weird about it, but here's my thing. I'm very, I never ever in my life want my gender to be the reason I got somewhere. Like I do not want an opportunity to be presented to me when another artist deserves that more because they're better than me, but it's only getting presented to me because I'm a female. That is the last thing that I want. And I also never want, because I've had people that have not wanted me to paint their bikes specifically because I'm a female. So there are certain situations that like there are like these all female things that I get. They're supposed to be in support of females, and they're supposed to be to make it more comfortable for females to come into the industry and all of that. But I don't like, and I'm not big on necessarily feminism. I'm big on equality. And I think they're two different things. So I wouldn't want me being segregated, me being separated because of my gender. So I'm not going to do the same to males. So regardless that I get that event or that group is supposed to be a safe place for females and a female only thing, I get weird about it because like you're still now doing exactly what you don't want to be done. Whereas if I can create an inspiration and a safe place for you in this industry where it is actually in this industry with the other men and with just people in general, then I would rather that, because I don't want gender to be a thing at all. Like I want to be just a painter or just a writer. Like why does it have to be...
I want to be judged for what I do.
100%. Why does it have to be a female painter or a female writer? Like why does female have to be in front of it? But I will say... I used to be solely like, don't even like, I'm against like anything female at all. Like I'm a painter and that's it. Like, but then I was at a motorcycle show at Texas Motor Speedway a couple years ago. And I was just sitting on a bike, like just messing around. Like it was one of my friend's bike. I was riding it around the show. Then I was just sitting there talking to him. And I saw this like 13, 14-year-old girl, and she was like staring at me. And like my friend, Melissa, was standing right there. And so Scott Holbrook's actually Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. It was his girlfriend. She was standing right there, Melissa. And we were just sitting there talking, and like we both saw her, and Melissa was like, she looked at her and she's like, do you want to sit on this bike? And the little girl was like, no. And her dad was standing there, and her dad was like, yeah, she does. And so like she came over and like sat on the bike, and like you can see it, like she just like totally lit up. And I said, that girl's gonna ride one day. There's no doubt about it. And so then it was that moment that I realized, I was like, if that was two dudes standing over there, she would have never gone over there.
Ever.
Like so then that's when like I kind of like switched to like I saw it firsthand, and I saw like the mentality of like how it is important to inspire them, because there's a lot of women that don't think that they can do it just because it's a man's industry. And like I'm kind of like, I was never brought up that way. I was brought up in a way that if you want to do it, you can fucking do it. It doesn't matter if it's a man's world or like, I was never condoned or conditioned to a man's world versus a female's world.
Right.
Like
Stay home.
Both my parents worked. Both my parents had full-time jobs. They both like did whatever needed to be done. So like, they were never like, oh, like women don't do that. Girls don't do that. Like none of that. So I never had that female person that I was like, oh my God, like this female is an inspiration to me. Like I just did it because I wanted to do it. So I had a hard time wrapping my head around. I'm like, you don't need a female inspiration. Just do it if you want to do it. But then at that moment, that's when I was like, some of these people do need that.
Yeah, people do need inspiration
100%.
because there is a system back to what we were saying. If you were raised the way that person was, you would do the same thing. And I remember writing 20 something years ago, and I rode with some older guys back then, and I remember they would see a woman rider, 15, 20 years ago. That was like fucking not as normal.
Yeah, 100%.
And these guys would get mad. They'd be like, a woman shouldn't, ride a motorcycle. I'm not playing with Barbies. Yeah. Why are they riding bikes? And it's like, well, I've seen some women riders that ride better than you guys.
You're right. That's the truth, man.
Like, dude. But now, but it's really changed. But the point is, even though that it's changed now, people still limit themselves.
Oh, 100%.
And if you don't have that inspiration and reach
and so
out.
The thing is the industry, yes, there is a lot more women involved in it now, both motorcycle painting, all of that. But there has always been women in the industry. You look back at World War II, who was carrying the country back when everyone was out.
Of course.
Yeah. So
and that's what created independent jobs for women. That's what
it's 100%. It's just the fact that, again, we have social media, that we have that platform to be public about it and to show people that, like, it's not that more and more women are getting into this industry. It's just that more and more women are now being recognized in this industry, because we've always been there. We've always been there. We've always been doing the work, but now it's just finally we're becoming like known in this industry. We're not being necessarily hidden anymore. We're not just the secretaries. We're not just any of that. Like, so cool.
It's definitely cool. I'm gonna see if I can find. Do you know Andrew Schultz?
Yeah,
he's fucking hilarious. Did you see the one he did about women's rights?
No.
Let's see
I'm intrigued though.
Okay, let's see. 1 second. Dead air.
Please hold.
Okay, let's see. I think.
For all we know, he could have shot the subway. We don't know.
I like how I have everything hooked up, but I don't use it.
That's so nifty.
I know. I should be using this stuff more often. But he did. Married people. I know this is bad. Dead air.
That's okay.
Here, I'll put the theme song for my podcast. Yeah. Welcome back to the Ride Boundless podcast.
Wait, this is a commercial break.
Commercial. Yeah, there's always that. Oh, yeah. Now I feel like I'm forcing it.
Right? You're going to find it as soon as we're done this.
I know. No, as soon as you leave. And fuck, man, it was there the whole time. Is it this?
It's in Egypt. They're like, oh my God.
I just have one question.
What's up, everyone? That's why you need to have.
No.
That's why you need to have some of this.
I'm gonna quit it.
No,
but I do like all the
No, but that is nice. That's very like convenient that you can just like everything's connected like that. Like even how you changed that in the beginning, like you just did it on your phone and all of a sudden it just appeared on there. Is that like a TV or like what is that?
Yeah, so this is a Samsung TV. It's called the Frame, and you can actually buy frames for it.
Okay.
And it hides it, and then it looks like a fucking poster. Like
okay,
period.
That's what I was confused about.
Yeah.
So I was like, it looks like a poster.
Yeah, and then it has like 1,000 sensors, so it replicates the lighting in here. So that's why it looks so dull and matte, and that's why if you look at like a regular picture, it doesn't look far off. And the more shit you put around it, the fucking more it camouflages in. It's pretty fucking outstanding.
That's wild.
Yeah, because otherwise, the only way I was able to do this is if I had like my laptop open, I had to mirror it, and then it was like fully bright, and it'd fuck with the camera lightness on. Yeah, it was like a whole.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I don't have to make it myself. No, yes, right? I gotta use this more.
So great.
Thank you once again.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. I had a great time.
So did I. I swear, this time did fly by.
Oh, 100%. I very rarely can talk for 2 hours straight, especially about myself.
I know. You just spent 2 hours like, I don't like talking to anybody. I don't like telling anybody my fucking story. And then to myself, and it's me.
I don't answer the phone.
And it's like, yo, hey.
Right.
What the fuck are you doing? Like, yo,
yeah, right.
There's a limit, goddamn. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's totally fine.
It's been awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.